All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting's called to order at 7 p.m. Welcome to the Town of Cedar Lake Board of Zoning Appeals August meeting. Can you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. We need to get a roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson.
Here.
Mr. Wilkening.
Here.
Mr. Kapora.
Present.
Mr. Bungie.
Present.
Mr. Recupito.
Here.
Ms. Marr. Present. Ms. Attorney Austin.
Present.
And Margaret Abernathy, present.
All right, thank you. Regarding the minutes from May, June, and July of 2021, does anybody have any corrections? Have we all had a chance to look over them? Does anything need to be changed? They all look good? Seems okay. Look good. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't say anything.
Okay. Council, can we make one motion to approve these all?
You may.
Okay. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve all the minutes as stated above.
Okay. Second?
I'll second it.
All right. Motion by John, seconded by Jerry.
No, Ray.
Ray, I'm sorry. Seconded by Ray J. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening.
Yes.
Mr. Kapora.
Yes.
Mr. Bungie.
Yes.
Mr. Recupito.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. All right, getting into old business. First order of business is Auger Developmental Variance. I believe that Ms. Murray had an update on this.
Yes, in your meeting packet is a letter dated July 30th from Mr. Auger. He is unable to be present this evening as he's out of town until the 16th. He's requesting this be continued till September.
Okay.
Until next month, right?
Correct.
For some clarification, this will be the fourth month that we're dealing with this. Two deferrals on our request and 2 deferrals on his request.
This would be the second deferral on his request. The first one, his first deferral, you requested more information. The second one, he had a funeral out of town. The third one, you deferred it, and he has requested a deferral
Okay, the third one was deferred because
of the minutes.
of minutes. I don't know, is there any other information other than what we have here?
So the additional information was all of in the meeting packet that was included last month and this month that showed more details on the structure he wanted to build.
But not the placement, not the stormwater, none of those things, correct? Just the structure itself?
Well, the placement had been included on the survey that was included in your packet.
I'm just wondering what more information. I don't need any more information to make a decision about this. I mean, this is a big whole building behind a duplex in a residential area, and those are my immediate thoughts.
Yeah, I know he was trying to work out some issues with his neighbor to the south as far as some payment and some runoff from the very steep driveway that runs from his house to down and into a ditch at Parish. I don't know if those have been resolved, and I don't know if that was part of what he was planning on bringing to the meeting.
Well, what we had originally gotten, he had referred to as a stormwater correction. What I don't recall is if he was putting drains in his building. There's certainly an elevation issue there, and
On the information he had provided, he was not putting drains in his building. On where he was removing the shed would be where it would start to capture the water, head down the driveway, and go across the front yard.
Well, ultimately, those stormwater problems are not the building.
Correct.
Correct.
Correcting that stuff would be something
Outside.
somebody might want to do anyway.
For me, the bigger issue, well, at hand is the fact that the building's gonna be there and what it is and the size of it. Now, are you suggesting that maybe we continue this hearing and have possibly a vote on this? Is that something that can be done? without commissioner presence?
I'm, good.
The answer is yes.
Okay. Okay, I mean, we don't have any new information, and I'm sure, and we've had 4 months now to go over this and soak in everything we were given. I'm not sure what new can come of this.
Mr. Chairman, if in fact that's the position the board wants to take, acting on the deferral as a separate item would precede then an action on the substantive item before you.
Okay,
Take care of the procedural item, requested the deferral.
okay,
Take care of that, and you can move forward.
okay, all right, thank you.
I'm recalling some of these conversations, and I believe I had asked if he was going to decide it like the house. And he said no, because building materials are too expensive.
Mhm.
And that is not criteria that we're allowed to make decisions on, finances.
Correct.
So, I don't know what anybody else's thoughts are, but 4 months of looking over a pile of papers in the back seat of my car, I'm clear as clear can be.
Understood. Well, do we want to make a decision on this deferral first? And, council, do we have to open, do we have to, I mean, are legals in order to make that motion?
The legals have been in order for 4 months, since
Still good.
the public hearing was advertised.
Okay,
He didn't have to re-advertise, renotice by virtue of deferrals.
okay. All right, thank you.
I personally would like to have him here to hear his side of the date of what's going on. Now, I do agree with Jerry that, you know, deferral, and 2 of them have been because he couldn't make it. First one I can understand being a funeral, and the second one, tonight, I don't know what the reason for, and I don't know.
He's on vacation, I don't know how long ago he planned the vacation.
But
And
that's fine, yeah.
I'm just saying that this
Yeah.
is what I,
Yeah, but I say I agree with Jerry, but I think he should be here for us to either yea or nay his request. Because he might be able to put some more light onto the situation than what we have now. So I would be against not deferring it,
Okay,
you know, that's my opinion.
okay.
We can clear this up real quick. I'll make a motion, we not defer this item.
Okay, so we have a motion to deny the deferral by the petitioner, by Mr. Wilkening. Do we have a second on that motion? A second. Second by Mr. Jackson. So we've got a motion and a second to deny this deferral. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Jackson,
No,
Oh,
motion to defer, or to deny the
to
deferral?
deny, sorry.
So-
To deny deferral.
Yes, to deny the
Yes,
deferral.
sorry about that.
Okay. Mr. Wilkening,
Yes, to deny the deferral.
Mr. Kapura,
No,
Mr. Bungie,
no.
Mr. Recupero,
Yes. So the motion to deny carries 3-2. So I believe that they can open up, we can continue with the public hearing and advertise, council?
It is duly noticed and it's properly before you from the time of the first meeting in May, I believe. In May, it was first before you, and all the legals checked out then and carried over, continued, if you will, without additional advertising. You may want to open the floor just to see if somebody's here on this matter and give full due process.
Okay, all right. Well, for the record, I'll ask, is there a petitioner here for this matter? Is there a petitioner here? And he's not online, correct, Ms. Murr?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Being that we don't have a petitioner here, I'm going to open up the floor to remonstrators for or against this variance. Is there anybody for or against this variance request for 13172 Parish Avenue? Is there anything online, Ms. Murr?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Public portion is closed. Was there anything else from the building department? Nothing has come in since last correspondence we had with them regarding?
No, at your last meeting, you deferred the item and the petitioner did not get a chance to speak on the additional information that had been provided.
Okay.
So your May meeting, you requested additional information. The June meeting, your petitioner was not here. However, the additional information was here. Your July meeting, you deferred. The petitioner was present in the room, but you deferred it before we got to the item. And then he is not here this evening, and you have denied his request for deferral.
Okay.
So I just wanted to put the timeline
Okay.
there for you for the record.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
the minutes of this meeting should reflect exactly what Joe just described also
Okay.
in the content. Yes, it does. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any, other than the fact that we deferred it and the discussion about that, does anybody have any other comment on the actual petition and what they feel about the petition and the request?
Well, as presented, it doesn't fit the criteria that we're responsible for following to make decisions. You know, it will look like a pole building behind the duplex in a residential area of town.
Yeah.
And it's 30 by 40. It's not a two-car garage.
Right.
And he's allowed 800 square feet? Is that what we determined in one of the discussions?
Yes. Yes, sir.
It's not the square footage that bothers me. It's that we have a pole building in a residential neighborhood. Not that that hasn't happened. This is a duplex that is on Parish Avenue. And I said before, having things be something they don't look like, siding like the house, metal roofs, I think are a great idea. But it doesn't fit. It doesn't enhance the neighborhood at all.
And I think there was a remonstrator, a neighbor that had some issues with it too.
Other than stormwater?
Other than stormwater, yeah. Yeah, the structure itself. And he wasn't going to commit to siding it like the house. That was out of the question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think everybody sitting up here would love to have one of these in their backyard. Just
Yeah.
or two.
Yeah.
Although your neighbors might not think very highly of it.
Sure.
It's like 16 feet tall too, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a sidewall height, overall height, square footage, it being a pole building, post and beam.
Another single-story home right in front of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that first picture, I think, in this package shows this relationship to the duplex that he owns in totality, if I remember right.
Well, it's up to the board to decide where we want to go from here. I understand where John's coming from, having the gentleman here. We haven't got any new information, and unless this plan was revised seriously, I'm not sure that I can be for it. I'm not sure I agree it fits behind a duplex like this on a small lot.
My hopes were that after the first discussion, the new information would be different.
Yes.
And that doesn't seem to be the case.
Just remember your criteria, and it might help you find a path here.
I think lacking the hardship is a big thing.
Will strict application of town zoning ordinance terms result in practical difficulties in the use of the property?
So there's two duplexes right next to each other, and we can assume it may, we can assume it may not.
But for a variance of use, could this property be used? Sounds like it's already being used.
Well, and this gentleman may use it perfectly, according to his neighbors. The next guy,
Right.
we don't know.
There's nothing stopping him from putting a garage up here, right, that meets our zoning ordinance? As far as size and structure?
No.
I know he's without a garage right now, I believe.
Correct.
All right. Any other board discussion? Jeff, do you have anything else?
No, I really don't.
No?
You know, looking at, you know, as David put it, you know, with this variance request in front of us, as it is right now, bare bones, you know, and looking at finding consent without having a petitioner here.
Didn't you already deny this?
No.
What was that first motion then? Deferral.
We denied the deferral request.
Oh, okay.
Bob. Yeah, he wanted to defer another month, and we denied that.
Oh, okay.
So we're just carrying on the...
I thought that killed it.
No.
I think it probably opened up the conversation.
Yes, sir. Well, if the motion is going to be made, I think we need to, like Dave said, have those findings nailed down. Make sure that that's in the motion, so that's clear.
Another consideration for you as you assess this under the criteria of the statute comes from some case law. In determining whether compliance with the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties so as to support a variance, courts consider whether significant economic injury will result if the ordinance is enforced. 2, whether the injury is self-created, and 3, whether there are feasible alternatives. These factors are not exclusive.
All right, thank you, Dave.
I guess in so many words, that means your budget means nothing.
Well, that's an overarching finances, fiscal impact. Those items don't play a role. We're talking about self-created. You could build a garage within the criteria of the existing ordinance and not be here. Just come and see staff get a permit.
And that's what you were talking about with hardship.
Yes, sir. Yep. I could see a hardship if you're not allowed to put any structure there and you need to store stuff inside, but you can put a structure up and you can use that property. So if there's no more discussion on this matter, is there a motion to either approve or deny this variance request?
Do you want to look at Title 30 of your zoning ordinance to get the criteria? This is for developmental variance. there are 3 statutory criteria, height, variance of use, 5 scale.
I've got them here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve or deny this developmental variance? It'll be a board decision.
Mr. Chairman, you also make a motion to defer if you so choose.
And that's an option as well,
Option to what?
to defer the matter.
That would get him here next time, wouldn't it?
It would.
I certainly hope so.
I'd like to hear what the gentleman has to say, and if he's willing to do some other different options, and just to, like, do it from the back room when he's out in the front room. So, I'll make a motion to defer this item until September.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
All right,
Now that we've had some further discussion on that.
Okay. All right, folks, we have a motion by Mr. Kapura and a seconded by Mr. Bungie to defer this to the September meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapura?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
Yes.
Mr. Rikudo?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. So this will be on the agenda for September 2021.
Joe, please share all this dialogue with him.
I will.
All right, second order of old business is early developmental variance. Ryan and Amanda Early, 6241 West 136th Avenue, Cedar Lake. The property being in the vicinity of 14323 and 14326 Lakeshore Drive. The petition is the developmental variance request is to allow the petitioner to build a house 8 feet 7 inches from 143rd Place and 20 feet 6 inches from Elm Street and lot coverage over 25%. Mr. Oshner, the...
Legal's in order, public hearing may be
All
conducted.
right, thank you. Petitioner, can you please state your name and address for the record?
Ryan Early, 6241 West 136th Avenue, Cedar Lake.
All right, thank you. And the request is just as I stated?
Correct.
Okay,
There's a building there presently, just to keep the same build lines.
okay. All right, building department?
In your packet, we provided additional information from the early showing you layout of what they wanted to build.
I have packets also for everyone if you want.
Okay. All right, thank you.
This is the lot up on the hill. At your previous meetings, you had asked for this to be reviewed by your Director of Operations, Tim Kubiak, as well as your engineer, Don Oliphant. Both of those are included in your packet. There was concern about water running down the hill. They have both reviewed that, and this would all occur during the permitting process, that they would review that further for any impact on adjacent properties.
Okay.
And you have 3 letters of in favor of the early building this
Okay.
home on the property that are included in your packet. Those were provided to you for your last meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you. Now, Jill, the plans that I saw in this month's packet, they've got very detailed plans of the house and square footage and everything. Did we have those last month too? We did have those, okay. Because I was a little unclear. You guys first supplied like a GIS image with kind of handwritten where the footprint was. The measurements that you had on there didn't seem to coincide with your plan. The measurements you had on there showed a much larger house than your plan actually shows. And, I mean, I don't know if you have your packet you submitted in front of you or not, but on here, you guys showed, get to it here.
Are you suggesting it's not the same footprint?
Yeah, I'm suggesting that
It would be 48 by 62,
40.
at its widest width and its deepest depth.
Okay. You got a lot of info here, which is good. I just got to thumb through it.
Like I said, I got packets, they're all highlighted. If you guys want them, I'll be happy to hand them out.
We haven't highlighted what you turned in.
Yeah. Well, as I go through this and try to gather myself, do you guys have any questions or?
Well, Tim says it's okay by him, doesn't see a problem with it. Don Oliphant says he doesn't see a problem with it, and it's okay by him. And he's requesting a variance to build a house. Any problems that house being built on that hill will generate will be addressed to the plan commission when he brings the plans in for approval because of the variances here in the size lot. Right now, we're not really concerned with, at least I don't think we're really concerned with drainage, or is this the right size house, or is it, a few inches bigger? What we're concerned with is this property buildable.
Isn't this a lot of record though? Or this has to go through a one-lot subdivision process before you can build on it?
No,
No?
this would not go through the plan commission. It's already pre-platted.
That's right.
Oh, I thought it was gonna go through there.
No, this would go through the review process with the building permit, through
buil-
Tim and Don. All
Okay.
all pre-platted lots now, we
Okay.
have Don look at for impact to anyone else on stormwater.
And that's what I was asking for, is a little more thoroughness
I was
from
confused
Don,
on that. Okay, I was confused
from
on
Don
that.
and Tim, and we have that. So the setbacks that are in this variance are the same as what's there now?
Correct. Yes, sir.
This is,
And I know last time you had concerns about drainage issues.
I wanted to make sure it had been considered and looked
Yes.
over by Don and Tim, because we had nothing
Yes,
regarding that, and it looks like we have that now,
okay.
so.
Mr. Early, can you step on up here? This is the question I had regarding these plans. Here you've got obviously the 48 by 66, but these numbers here were mentioned, and am I to assume that those were the square footage?
That is square footage, yes.
Okay, but
That's first floor and second.
so that first floor doesn't, that's what I'm saying, it doesn't match up with this 48 by 66 number.
Well, probably
But-
doesn't include the garage. That's not.
Okay, all right. So the actual footprint of the garage this is all correct?
Correct.
66,
This will
12
be
by
your
12.
actual square footage.
Okay,
Garage is not considered livable space.
gotcha. All right, thank you.
This is, Mr. President, again, this is extremely thorough, because I'm quite certain some of these people who wrote these letters know the property way better than we do.
Mm-hmm.
If there was an issue of some kind, they would have written the letters they wrote.
These neighbors are all adjacent to your property, they're
Correct.
like 2 blocks away?
They all have they all received the letters.
All right, cool.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll get to you. All right, does the board have any more discussion on this matter?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay.
I did have one quick question. In the one colored diagram that shows the retaining walls,
Yes.
did we have some discussion? Obviously, we didn't discuss anything last month, but was there some discussion about a retaining wall at the very end of lot? What would that be? The southern adjacent lot as you go down the hill.
That, I do not own that lot.
I understand, but didn't we
There is a
have
retaining
some-
wall there, yes.
There is a retaining
Correct.
wall there, and it's in good enough shape to
That's a question that you should
Why are you
ask.
asking me?
I think we had discussed the retaining wall. Mr. Early had made some mention of making it better
Yes.
and everything
There
about
are two
the hill.
retaining walls there at
Yeah.
this time right now,
Yeah,
plus the one adjacent that you're talking about. It is the actual, I would say, footing of the previous house that the town had torn down. So, good shape. Yeah, I suppose you could say that.
Okay, well, all I'm just saying is I thought I remembered some discussion about a retaining wall along that edge of your property.
Yes.
That hasn't been brought up here tonight.
No, there are two on my property. There are two. There's one that is, 3'7", and it's about 1'9" from the road. And the other one is 3'1", and that is about 11 foot from the road.
that's the foundation.
Correct. And they are 25 foot wide.
And that foundation will stay there?
Unless
No murals?
that property goes up for sale, no, it will not.
Okay.
Well, the property that you're saying.
That I'm talking about, my retaining walls will stay there.
Okay, and property going for sale is not your
Correct.
property, gotcha, okay. All right, you okay for now, Jeff? You got anything else?
I guess I'm okay for now.
We'll get to some remonstrators. Do you have a seat, sir?
Sure.
See if there's anybody out there, remonstrating for or against this variance. Do you have anybody that'd like to speak up for or against this variance here?
I can speak up for the variance, that garage is where,
Can you please come up, sir? And just, do me a favor, and just state your name and address for the record,
Kenny
please.
Daschle, 14321 Lakeshore Drive.
Okay?
That garage that we're talking about for the 8'7" has been there since I've lived there for 18 years. So apparently whoever built the garage before got the variance, and I don't see where it's gonna create any problem for 143rd Place. 133rd Lane, I can't say, that's up to the other neighbors. But 143rd Place, there's no problem.
All right,
Because that's only, where it's at is a 20-foot access road.
okay,
It goes to the Larson's property and mine,
okay,
and it's not gonna interfere with us at all.
okay. All right, thank you, sir. All right, anybody else out there for or against the variance? Ms. Murr, is there anything online?
No, sir.
And then as Ms. Murr stated, we do have, three letters that we'd like to have in the record that were in favor of this variance, didn't have any problems with it. So with that being said, the public portion of this meeting is closed.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah,
Want to make sure those letters are referenced directly into the record also,
okay.
in the minutes.
Would you like me to read the names and addresses of the people who provided the letters for the record?
You can do that if you want, or if you're directed, but if
Okay.
they're put into the record, we can identify them.
Yeah.
And they'll be part of the public record.
Okay. I think that's sufficient, Jill.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Early, can you please step back up?
Yep.
Thank you. All right, and I know this was probably something that was discussed at some point, but do you know exactly what your lot coverage was offhand? Because the request just shows over 25%.
I can't remember. I think, Jill, you and my wife had those discussions via email, and take a quick second and look through it, but I might be
I know I had
prepared for it.
Tim look at it.
I think it would help.
Feeling my note was in the file.
I want to say in the previous minutes, it was 33%.
33%?
That is the number that's ringing off the top of my head.
Okay. I'd like, Jill, if we can, to get like a solid number on these when we get these, so that way we don't have to sit here and do math.
I know I wrote it down for
Well,
last month,
I-
and I think I forgot to grab it.
That does seem to be ringing a bell to me, so.
Yeah, I don't think I have that, but
Okay.
for some reason that number is stuck in my head.
Okay, that sounds about right. All right, Jilly, did you have anything else on this?
No, we've reviewed this, we've provided the additional information you asked for, updated the picture showing how that lot is covered, explaining the unique shape of this parcel,
Mhm.
and had your Director of Operations as well as your town engineer look at it,
Okay,
and provide letters for the record.
okay. Now, if anything does come up, if this does get approval tonight and a permit's pulled, and anything does come up along the way, that's all gonna be handled on the other side of that wall there, right? You guys are gonna take care of, any requirements that he may have in drainage or anything like that?
So
Okay.
that it doesn't negatively impact any neighbors.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. All right. John, Ray, Barry, Jeff, you guys have anything else for him?
About as thorough as it could get.
Okay, when you were gone, Jerry, we just pinned down it's 33% lot coverage. It advertises over 25%, but for the record, actual lot coverage, would you be requesting is 33?
That's the number that I remember from the previous minutes, I'm almost positive.
June 10th, 33%.
Okay, all right, thank you, Joe. All right. You have anything for the gentleman, sir? No.
I know it's taken a little while longer than you planned on, but
Yeah, good things take time.
here we are.
All right, you guys have a motion to either approve or deny this variance as a board decision?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion. We approve this developmental variance to allow the petitioner to build a house 8 feet 7 inches from 143rd place and 20 feet 6 inches from Elm Street with a lot coverage of 33%.
All right,
With the findings of fact.
all right. Thank you. Do we have a second on the motion?
I second it.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Wilkening, seconded by Mr. Jackson to approve this developmental variance, allowing the petitioner to build a house 8 feet 7 inches from 143rd place and 20 feet 6 inches from Elm Street, and a lot coverage of 33%, and to include the findings of fact. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapura?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
Yes.
Mr. Recupero?
Yes. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jill, thank you so much for everything you've done with my
You're
wife.
welcome. I hope to visit it soon.
All right. On to new business. Item number 1 is People's Bank. It's a developmental variance. The owner being People's Bank SV, 9204 Columbia Avenue, Building B in Munster, Indiana. The petitioner is Robin Witt, Larson Danielson Construction, 302 Tyler Street in LaPorte, Indiana. The property being in the vicinity of 10205 133rd Avenue. The developmental variance request is to allow the petitioner to have parking in the front yards of a corner lot, 133rd Avenue and King Street. Mr. Austin, are the legals in order?
All in order.
All right,
Public
thank you.
hearing may be conducted.
All right, thank you, sir. Are you the petitioner, sir?
Yes, Jeff Jensen with Larson Danielson.
What was your name again?
Jeff Jensen.
Jeff Johnson. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And your request?
Requesting for the front parking, on the corner lot of 133rd and King Street, which is matching a number of the, businesses along 133rd. Especially with the front entrance obviously facing the street, and wanting to keep the parking close to that entrance for the customer's convenience and as well as accessibility.
Okay. All right, thank you. Jill?
This is the proposed People's Bank on 133rd and King. They did get site plan approval at the July 21st Plan Commission meeting. And we realized they needed a variance for parking in the front yard. There's a 50-foot setback off of 133rd and a 30-foot setback off of King. This is the corner lot right next to O'Reilly's.
Okay. So nothing that's gonna encroach in the setback, it's just exactly where the location is in relation to the road and the building. Okay. All right, thank you. I guess I'm gonna start with the plan commission members here. This is just, this all cleared through you guys, and this was, site plan and all that stuff?
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward, similar to Tech Credit Union. Although I do have a question when we get to that part of it, the right in and right out. The right out will put you where? In the turning lane? And the shoulder, the turning lane?
Yes.
Right in front of the stoplight.
The right out is located on the west side of the property towards O'Reilly.
No, it's on the east side of the property. It will bring you right out into the actual lane or the turning lane where the stoplight will be. The right out.
The light is on the east side, correct?
Light's on the east side, and
Right.
and the right out of the north side of this property will take you into the 133rd, into the eastbound lane, or will it take you into the turning lane where people are gonna try to turn onto King Street?
It take you into the turning lane.
It takes you to the turning lane.
Into the turn lane.
Yes.
So I guess we just have to trust that people aren't gonna try to
And that,
jump the light and,
they have their interests as far over to the west there as can be. Originally, it was not going to be a right in, right out. They were hoping for both ways with our light going in. It was requested by your engineer to have it right in, right out, as well as the plan commission members.
well, I guess we have to rely on the drivers to do the right thing. Otherwise, everything was pretty straightforward here.
Okay.
And with the drive-through and the location of it in the back, I would anticipate some people will leave on King and utilize that light now to make a westbound turn on 133rd.
All right, so this is consistent with everything we're doing there, obviously? Okay.
Other than the streets being different.
Yeah,
It's very similar to the tech building.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, did you have anything on this, or you good for now?
If you're under standard parking spots, it's 10 by 20s or?
Yes, standard parking spot.
All right. You confirm what Jerry said, John?
Wholeheartedly.
Okay, all right, good.
It's consistent with the parking of the other businesses in the area.
Okay, all right.
Right there's O'Reilly's, they have a similar setback there, and same with DeMont State Bank across the corner.
Okay, and that's all working well, right? All right. Can you have a seat real quick, sir, please? Are there any remonstrators out there for or against this variance? Anybody here for or against? Sir? Yeah. Please come on up, state your name and address for the record.
Guy Carlson, and I'm at 10810 Bell Street in Crown Point. That's my home, but I'm with DeMont State Bank. DeMont, Moles, Cedar Lake, a number of areas. Welcome to town, gentlemen. The question I had, and I just reviewed the plan earlier, I'll direct this to you. I couldn't tell from the plan itself how far the setback was from the curb to the front of the building. And you guys have already addressed the setback on 133rd, is that correct?
Well, the plan commission was handling that as far as the site plan goes.
So it wouldn't need a variance for that?
According to Ms. Murray, no, it doesn't.
Variance is just for what they call front yard parking.
Yeah.
And of course, you have two front yards, one's on the side, where you show King Street. And of course, that's gonna be really tight, you know, but.
Yeah, they're gonna abide by the ordinance for the sizes of the spaces. I'm not sure about the number of the spaces, if you guys had to grant any waivers for that, the number of spaces required.
I don't recall any waivers.
So it looks like there'll be sufficient parking and the correct sizes.
Yeah, I'm sure that'd be fine.
Okay.
Most people today bank by phone anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, yeah.
If you have more than two people in the parking lot, it's usually because something went wrong.
Yeah. Are you giving away something?
No, not today.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Carlson. Do we have anybody else out there for or against this variance? Ms. Murray, anything online?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jensen, can you please step back up? Any last words from the building department?
No, I was just bringing up the parcel, because the parcels over there, their lot lines, note that their lot lines already allow for a setback. There's already dedicated right-of-way space there. Just similar to Demont State Bank across King Street.
Okay. All right.
And they have to be set back from their property line.
Okay.
So I just wanted to give you an overview, showing you that.
Okay.
Wasn't that the width of the street, if Martin Mauger, when he developed that, he proposed a, secondary drive off of the main road? So that would be an extension of
South
the.
side of 133rd,
South side of 133rd?
between the railroad and Lincoln Plaza.
I guess that's where Cedar Lake Kitchen, little roadway came in.
I think there was discussion with Cedar Lake Kitchen built, so many years ago now.
And the improvements that are going on there, that stoplight's not gonna affect any setbacks after this? Would get approval if it did? Okay.
Now the project's anticipated to finish up here by the end of the month.
Okay.
We're just waiting on the light bulbs coming.
All right. All right, thank you. Board members, gentlemen, do you guys have anything else for the petitioner or building department?
I'm good with everything.
Seems to be zero snags.
I like that. Ray, Jeff, anything else?
I'm good, nothing.
Okay. All right.
I did notice that, I don't know who was asking, but in their plan, it looks like they are proposing 13 parking spaces, 2 being ADA, and parking required is 10, so they have more than requested or required.
Good deal. All right.
I guess, Guy, that was your question.
So I didn't have a question about the numbers. My question was simply because I got a copy of the plan. I didn't see the distance from the street to the front of the building. There was a bunch of numbers in there. If you added them all up and, gave a fudge factor, you're close, I guess, to 132, 138 feet, so.
You see what's on the GIS though?
I can see a little bit from
It's pretty much gonna match up with O'Reilly's.
Yeah, and I did see that, if on that print that was submitted to the town, it had a building somewhat designated over here to the left side, and that would have been O'Reilly's building, so. And it lines up actually behind it.
Right.
So,
And the dark lines are property lines, so you'll see everything set back within the property.
gotcha, okay. All right, thank you.
All right. All good things, guys. Do we have a motion to approve or deny this variance request?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we approve this developmental variance to allow petitioner to have parking in the front yard of a corner lot, 133rd and King Street, with the findings of fact.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. We got a motion by Jerry, seconded by John, to approve the developmental variance as requested to include the findings of fact. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Capora?
Yes.
Mr. Bundy?
Yes.
Mr. Recupero?
Yes. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you all for your time.
Thanks.
Moving along, item number 2, Summer Winds Commercial Variance of Use. Owner petitioner Summer Wind Commercial LLC, 11125 Delaware Parkway in Crown Point, Indiana. Property being in the vicinity of 9751 to 9869 Lincoln Plaza Way. The petitioner is requesting a use variance to allow them to have outdoor dining at 4 restaurant business units on a lot in a PUD zoning district. Mr. Austin, legal in order?
In order.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Public hearing may be conducted.
All right, thank you. Do we have a petitioner for this item present?
I did not see the petition.
Have you had any communication?
Mailed out the notices.
Okay. No, they're
I
not
have
online,
not heard
right?
anything from them.
Do you normally hear anything from them, or they just show up?
Well, if they don't, or if they get here early, but I have had nothing from him, which I found odd.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
you may want to consider moving it to the back end of the agenda. Maybe they'll stumble in here
Okay.
at 9 o'clock for the 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock meeting, and then if they don't, you can certainly solicit the appropriate
Okay, fair enough.
actions. There are no communications of any kind, no emails, no texts, no
From Mr.
smoke
Weber.
signals, no nothing.
Mr. President, I do request that we do have a brief discussion about some details here that are concerning to me.
Okay. Would it be okay if we follow council's advice?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
For procedure, do we have to make a motion? or-
You can have the chair, you can move it around.
Okay, all right, we're gonna go ahead and put this at the end of the agenda. Item number 3, new business, Cedar Lake Storage LLC developmental variance request. The owner being Cedar Lake Storage LLC, 2805 West 47th Avenue in Gary, Indiana. Petitioner is Tim Porter of Cedar Lake Storage LLC, 2805 West 47th Avenue in Gary, Indiana. The property being in the vicinity of 9011 and 9019 West 133rd Avenue. The developmental variance is to allow the petitioner to construct a storage yard using aggregate gravel and not blacktop asphalt or concrete. Mr. Austin.
Legals are in order, public hearing may be conducted.
All right, thank you, sir. Petitioner, can you say your name and address for the record?
Chris Porter, 9019 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana.
All right.
And I'm the engineer on the project, Ryan Maravich, DVG Team 1155, Trout Pine Road, Crown Point, Indiana, 46307.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Any requests?
We're requesting using aggregate or gravel for the storage yard at the property located at 9019 West 133rd Avenue. We were in front of the Plan Commission last month as part of the site plan approval, and then through the review process, it was discovered that we had to go through this variance process to accept or deny the gravel, so that's what we're doing tonight.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Murr?
Exactly how he explained it. Included in your packet is a layout of the various materials that they want to use in the parking lot. One of the things discussed at the Plan Commission was lot lines on that, I shouldn't say lot lines, parking lines on the gravel, kind of outlining where various vehicles would park. With this layout, you had previously approved 119 parking spaces, so some of this reduces that amount of parking spaces total within this area. But again, they are here requesting a gravel yard. So the surfacing material, typical of off-street parking, needs to be blacktop or concrete or surfaced with smooth and durable compatible surface material that will remain free from dust or litter particles and adequately drained.
Can you just go back over the loss in spots? You said they would cut down on the amount of spots?
So your layout in here did not come up to the 119 spots, if I remember correctly from our discussion. Unfortunately, mine in your, where you had the number of spots, I believe, counted out.
Well, so this new layout doesn't fit with what we had.
They're allowed 119, it doesn't mean they can't put less in there.
Oh, so it's, okay, less. Okay,
Less.
all right. All right, sounds good. Anything else, Ms. Murray, before I get to the board members?
No.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, You know, actually, let me stop myself. Ray, have you been filled in on how this has all begun and where it's going? You know, this was given approval by the BZA, or favorable recommendation of town council in December of 2020. And it got kind of kicked back to us from the town council, and then I think we sent another favorable recommendation back in January of this year. And since then, I think these two gentlemen and their colleagues have been working with the petitioner to get the other details hashed out.
Right. No, I'm not 100% familiar with this. I know that you guys were here before for some parking spots up on the front there for the last, I recall that one, but.
So there was discussion at the first couple meetings about this blacktop situation. And so this was, you know, like I said, left us and went to the plan commission, and you guys handled drainage, site plan, everything else that plan commission handles. And so no waivers were granted or given for blacktop with the plan commission, right?
That comes to you guys.
Correct.
So a PUD wasn't done. This is still zoned M1, I believe?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Didn't we have discussion at our level about the need or the practicality of having this paved or hard surface?
Well, we had some
We had
discussion.
quite a few discussions, and if I can ask a question, I thought the original approval, one of the petitioners said, for blacktop. I thought that was a condition of the approval. So I'm not sure why we're here.
Well, I have the minutes of because I knew this was going to be brought up, the minutes of the December 2020 meeting, the petitioner stated that they would pave it. Now, that wasn't in the motion, however, it might have weighed on some decisions that, you know, were made here with the approval. I know it did in my decision making. I can't speak for the four other gentlemen that were up here with me, but it was mentioned that they would pave it. You are correct.
The site plan has changed a little bit since then, to the better, as far as I'm personally concerned. But I don't know how you mark off parking spaces in gravel. I don't know how that works.
To address that,
Yeah, go ahead.
we would either do a type of numbered post in front of each space, or a series of posts with a cable or rope connecting and labeling each space that way.
Now, I have something that's related that I need to bring up to anyone that can answer this, but when we sent a favorable recommendation to the town council in January, there were, along with the other list of contingencies, there was 1 year to complete these projects. Now, you know, it's August now. Is all that stuff going to be still binding going forward, even? We're in August now talking about this project still?
Of course it's fine.
And that would be from town council approval 1 year from then, right?
If it was contained in the approval of the town council, the answer is yes.
Okay.
So the future building that's shown on the site plan is still a future building, or it falls into 12 months?
Falls in 12 months. Unless there's some other definition or specific term.
Okay.
But isn't this, there is just to determine if you're going to give them the right not to pave or put concrete, that's all.
Yeah, you're right, Bob. It is somewhat unrelated, but being that we're in August now still talking about this, I'm just curious where this is gonna go, you know?
Okay.
Especially getting towards cold months now, and might be hard to pave, you know? If you have to.
Full transparency is always a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something else that Ray was not privy to up until this evening, so. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna lean on the plan commission members again. Where was this at last with you guys?
Everything had been dialed in. There was a real close vote on the one-lot subdivision. I believe Jill had told me that the easement along the west side, the legals for that, legal description has been straightened out.
Yes, being reviewed, you'll have your engineer's letter.
Okay. Okay, but the legal description has been reviewed by their attorney or our attorney?
By
The legal description of that stormwater easement along the west side.
by our engineer, and he was verifying that the legal description matched
Okay.
where it was located on the.
Okay. They purchased some property to take care of the stormwater to the south. But we have no storage facilities that are gravel.
The
in
south
town.
is just an easement, correct, not a
It's
purchase?
an easement, it's
Yeah.
an agreement.
It's off,
Oh,
yeah, an
it's
off-site
agreement,
storage
okay.
agreement.
Sorry, but they have acquired this space and already modified or soon to be modified.
The pond?
Yeah.
Soon to be.
Soon to be modified. So
And so the stormwater
we'll leave the property
Plan.
and go into a pond.
okay.
It'll sheet flow, and there was some discussion about the compaction of the stone that's there would be is so tight that it would be equal to blacktop. However, that doesn't take care of the dust. So,
And the pond, also, just to clarify a little bit more, that it's also accounted for the homeowner whose property they agreed it would handle theirs as well as some off-site because of the contours.
I believe the engineer is also looking at considering some kind of basin of a sort, because we are real close to the lake. So a leaky fuel tank of some kind could create a tremendous amount of havoc. But I've had no correspondence with him on that.
Is that all true, John?
Yes.
Okay.
No, he's
I
lying.
gotta check. All right, thanks. All right. So we're peeling back layers here, but I just need to get to the basis of this is what changed from that December, January discussion to today where we were told, hey, you guys want to blacktop, we'll blacktop it. And now we're being asked to allow you not to blacktop it.
I think he may have spoke up to her when he said that. As far as we'll do what you want, we are going through the process, have gone through the process of getting the one-lot subdivision, our site plan approval, and, various other things that were addressed as far as, fencing and lighting, signage, stuff like that. We see it as, it's a storage lot, not a parking lot. We don't anticipate the traffic of a parking lot. So, not only that, but the vehicles will be sitting there for longer periods of time in the heat of the sun, just doing damage to the blacktop. Also, the gravel will allow more drainage to go into the ground as far as sheet flowing off and going into the pond.
Okay.
And if I could add too,
Yes, sir.
as Chris mentioned, the yard, their desire is to have that gravel where I think maybe some of the confusion too was there is a parking area up front along 133rd and that will be paved. I know that there's, the discussion's been, well, parking's parking, but I think that was part of it too, was, yeah, we are paving our off-street parking. And then the yard would be gravel.
Yeah. Well, just the thing is that our ordinance requires that you guys pave it, and so, that's why I'm asking. I was looking for something more than, hey, the pavement's gonna fade, and you guys don't think you need it, but our book says you do need it. So that's why we're having this discussion here, to trying to figure out why this is being requested, really.
Well,
I know you guys in the past, I think, had mentioned, you know, I don't want to dig up asphalt because we might be putting another building in. I think that had been brought up at one of these meetings. I don't know if it was with us or the planning commission, but, because you guys might have had future plans for other buildings.
Yeah, we don't know what the future's gonna carry, you know, we want to have the facility to accommodate the community, and whether that's just parking, or if it is more buildings.
Okay.
Chairman, if I may, when this was presented in December, there was a different engineer working on this.
Mhm.
So there's part of your change. I just wanted to make sure that was noted.
Okay.
They started with one engineer and they're now with DVG.
well, but let's not
I just
mix,
want,
let's not mix
I
things
just
up.
want,
It's the same site,
it's
it's
the
the same thing.
same site, I just,
And Brian, your suggestion of confusion, there is no confusion. Okay, this switched in the middle from asphalt to gravel. And I brought it up based on a site plan that you had brought here. What happened in January happened in January. And I'm not sure who's confused. I'm not confused. So.
And could I never, there was a plan with striping, but it was kind of like what we're showing here, I won't say theoretical, but it was never, at least in my time, it was neither asphalt or gravel, and then I just had the plan, and then as we moved forward, they said, yeah, gravel. I said, well,
The blacktop brought more people to the podium when that discussion was going on. The original approval was based on certain size spaces. So many of these, so many of those, there were 10 by 35s. We're talking about campers and full-behind trailers and all those kinds of things.
Truck size.
Yeah, no trucks over 3/4 ton, things like that. That was all in there.
you're speaking of like the original,
The
from
space.
December.
When Jack stood there.
Oh,
Whoever was here originally, I think it was Jack Wells, wasn't it?
No, Rajeski?
it wasn't EDG.
Did you guys have a gentleman?
Correct, Rajeski was our first engineer.
Okay.
Well, what was originally proposed on paper, it was submitted here, had certain quantity of certain size spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all part of the approvals.
Yes, sir. They have certification to the town council, and that was all in there. Well, let's do this. Let's have a gentleman have a seat, please, and call for any remonstrators for or against this variance request. Anybody out there for or against it? Ms. Murr, do you have anything on mind?
no, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, the public portion's closed. Gentlemen, can you please step back up? All right. So, yeah, my thing is that when we gave you guys a favorable nod to the town council, I mean, my decision, I can only speak for myself, is it was, among other things, it was based off the fact that you guys were planning on paving that lot. And kind of, you know, we kind of tossed the ball to you guys and carried through with it. Now, obviously, you guys don't have jurisdiction over this blacktop issue because it never turned into a PUD, which I thought there was a discussion over a PUD at some point, Dave, but...
There was, it resulted in a one-lot subdivision
Okay.
strategy.
So,
Which worked out good. Property's cleaned up, everything is going to be better.
right.
It's just one little snag here that,
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm where was at a year ago on this. I was okay with the use as long as that thing got blacktop and these other contingencies were met. And I haven't changed on that. It's just the petitioner has changed what they want to do with that property. So, that's where I stand on this.
Ask a question?
come on up, please.
I probably started this whole mess.
You did.
I know, I did. When I says, you know, we're new at this, and then I says, whatever you guys want us to do, we will do. That's where it all came from, you know. And definitely we will. I would love to have blacktop. No more weeds, no more dust, you know. But if we had like phase, if we could do that, you know, instead of trying to do the whole thing at one time, is that possible?
Well, now we're getting into something different again.
We've been down that road
Well,
though before.
the phase thing was discussed at the planning commission.
No, it was discussed here too. We were presented with a 5-year
But-
plan.
but right-
that you guys
but
had.
right now-
No, because we talked about that, and you said, do you have like a time?
I asked if you did.
And I did not, and
And
now I
then,
did.
the issue right now is the approval is based on 12 months complete. And that's gonna be a tough goal.
Right.
And I'm not sure the phase discussion is for now. This is about blacktop.
Blacktop, that's what the petition's for.
An extension of completion, perhaps that,
Well, that's not for here, I don't think,
That's not
right
for
now
here.
tonight.
no, that's not for here.
Not before.
Yeah.
And I can't speak on that sitting over here.
So, Mr. Porter, that goes back to my question, why all of a sudden did this change? When you came up here and told us,
Why did what change?
you said that you would, well, here's your words, you said that, you stated if we get in here and do whatever we need to do, we will do it, which means pave it. So just tell us what we need to do.
Paving was not in my head, I didn't know.
Well, that was a topic we were on, these are the minutes from the meeting.
I know,
So I'm-
that was when we first started this whole deal.
Well, this
Well, that
was in the
was-
middle of a paving discussion, that's why I'm asking you.
Well, now it is in the middle.
No, it was in December of 2020. I mean, if you want to read the minutes, you can. I'm just wondering why this changed all of a sudden. It was, and even Mr. Radzinski stated that you guys would have it paved.
Did he say that? I don't remember that.
Here's them, if you'd like to read the
Where's he
minutes.
at?
Wyoming.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not making this stuff up, this is all public record
Okay,
minutes,
okay.
okay?
I'm
I'm just
not-
asking because I'm looking for, I'm trying to grab for something.
What I recollect is, I remember coming up and saying, you know, whatever you guys would like us to do, we will do. That I remember saying, you remember me saying that, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so,
Yes, I do. There was a lot of discussion back and forth.
yeah.
And recently, the cost of blacktop.
The cost, exactly.
was what Mr. Porter had mentioned at Tobin, which is not one of those things we can consider.
We kind of looked into it too a little bit, and I guess there's different grades, different thicknesses. You know, I think like regular parking lots where you're not on that much are thinner than what we would probably want. Like, you know, when you got everything sitting on it, you got the hitches sitting on it and this and that.
Yeah.
You know, so, which would be a bigger cost, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you guys.
I don't know what the other storage units
I don't either.
do for,
Well, there's not a whole lot of outside stores. I called around the other day just to see about boat storage and this and that. Nobody has any.
well, the little bit of outdoor.
A little bit.
The little bit of
yeah.
outdoor storage that is not blacktop is 20-plus years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
But any storage facility, I think, that's ever been done of late.
Oh, yeah, right, with the buildings.
In my backyard, for example.
Right,
Is
with the
all
buildings.
blacktop.
Right, right,
It helps get the water to the right place.
yeah.
Your situation, it's kind of all going that way anyway.
Mhm.
However, this thing keeps changing and evolving a little bit, and the discussion about the parking up front and the blacktopping is where that plan you brought in here, Ryan, showed all the gravel. That's what opened the discussion for what happened to the blacktop. That's how we got to all these discussions and minutes, discovery and things like that, so. I mean, completing this in 24 months, I'm not sure that's something that can be discussed here.
You know, I
Regarding
think
Mr. Porter's comments, but, things, we know what happens when things don't have a date. So,
Is that something, so the approval, it's from the date of the town council approval, is that correct? And what, was that the January 20?
It was Yeah, I think
Yeah, it was,
I wasn't
2021,
here. Yeah, I was,
2021.
he's got the paper there.
Okay.
yeah.
So could they come back next month, say, or whatever, before that 12 months is up and request an extension?
You need to ask the expert over here.
Okay. I mean, I think if everything falls in line, you're gonna try to build as soon as possible, but
We would like to be able to put some boats in there this winter, is what we'd like to do. I don't know how we can squeak that through, but I'm not a lawyer and I'm not an expert, so.
squeaking's not going real well.
Huh?
The squeaking's not going real well, sir. You need to bring back a petition for an extension of time if you can't make the 12 months, because at 12 months expiration, your approval expires.
Okay.
and that's completion of what is approved, right? That's not,
Correct.
that's not, you have to break ground within, everything that's approved must be completed within the doors.
For the improvements that you requested, yes.
We have to explain all this. We'll put that in the back,
You know, the discussion of boats came up in this room also. And I'd love you to fill that thing up with boats this winter. I just don't know how that possibly can happen. Not at this stage of the game. Because we know, once it's full of stuff, the blacktopping may never happen. And 10 years in taxpayer, expense in court is not.
Okay, what about, there's 2 buildings there, okay? If we could get this approved the way it is here, okay? Just the 2 buildings, and then behind the building on the east side, there was like, probably 150 by 75 foot sports concrete back there. Is it possible just to use that? Just that, nothing else, just that?
I don't think that's something we can discuss here.
It's not a,
Okay.
It's not on the agenda.
Okay, so how do we do that?
You have to take that up with the town staff.
Okay.
I mean, I totally understand your situation, and again, I love this thing full of boats and campers.
I love it too. And I like
Double stacked even, I mean, it doesn't matter, but we're here about the blacktop now, and, that's the squeaky part.
I know.
no variance application.
Yeah.
I know.
That's what it is.
If I had deep pockets, I'd love to do it.
Well, you threw out a number of what,
What was that, for the blacktop?
yeah, the blacktop, all that.
About 350 to 400, because we have to get the thickness,
I
you know,
understand,
for what we want to do.
I understand.
But
So,
the fact of the matter is if you were coming in with a clean slate here, there probably would be no discussion over this blacktop. You know, if you came in and you had a clean vacant parcel, and you wanted to put a storage, you know, this development in there, I'm not sure we would be entertaining the discussion, or you guys would be entertaining discussion at the plan commission level to allow this to all be gravel. A brand new build, you know? That's just my opinion, but it'd be shocking if you did. And so I don't see how this differs too much, and we're talking about money once again. And we're trying to work with you guys, but, you know, like I said, we were told this thing was gonna get paid. Now we're saying,
you were told that I said we would do whatever you guys would like us to do, you know?
yeah, I know, and we wanted to pay it.
I'm admitting, I'm coming in this blind. Never done this before. Okay, I did not know what towns expect. I did not know how all this stuff goes. I'm not a lawyer. Okay, I don't work with the towns. Okay, so I was new to it, very new to it. You know, and we had the wrong engineer for one thing. He kind of, yeah, I didn't know that either.
The specifications for that, though, have been blacktop always.
Mm-hmm. And that's very fine. I love the idea too. I really do. But if you could work with us to do this, you know, if we could at least maybe for this year, put the boats in the buildings, you know. I've been hearing a lot of like the inside, they like the inside storage for their boats for wintertime, you know. The one building we have is heated, you know. And they say they like that too. This is what I'm finding out, okay? The other building is...
Somebody mentioned that in this room once upon a time,
What's that?
about boats being inside.
Oh, okay. And, yeah, I think he did that at the beginning. I think he was pushing for that, you know, but evidently he didn't do it the correct way. And in the other building too, it's just open, you know, but then it's covered storage.
Yeah.
And then a lot of ice too, they don't care, so, if they get the wood shrink wrap, they can sit outside too in the back. But everything's on concrete.
I think perhaps Ryan should help you guys come up with a submittal of a game plan,
Okay.
and we need to get through this particular thing here and now.
This is like deja vu, because we had this discussion before. You guys, I think your initial request is, hey, can we use the front half, not the back half? I'm pretty sure we had this discussion.
That was the first one when I
Yeah.
saw it, I remember that, yeah.
And we weren't keen on that, and you got approval based on all these things being completed before you use it. Now we're going over this all over again. It's just,
Well, a lot of it's been completed, right?
go ahead. Just watching.
For your record, mostly. Ignorance of the law and/or the procedures is no defense. You had an engineer, you had staff, they came in, they saw our staff, they processed, and you got in front of these bodies, both Plan Commission and BCA. Not a defense that you don't know the rules, number one. Number two, our rules are, our specifications are that our parking areas, our storage areas, our stacking areas are paved. So when they say whatever, when you say whatever they want, what they want is our ordinance enforced. Our ordinance, so if your position is, I'll do whatever you want, whatever they want is what they want. So the law says, you know, duly promulgated zoning ordinance.
Correct.
So, not have any misconceptions here or misdeliveries on basic information.
Well put. Thank you, Mr. Hoffman.
Can I add two, so, you know, the vote tonight is the asphalt gravel deal. I think there is, depending on the outcome of that, there's been some thought, there's talk of like a phasing plan and a timeline. I think that was last month at the Planning Commission. That is gonna be the next step, if you will. So there's definitely been thought about that.
But it's not mine to face. It's your guys' to
Yeah,
face.
no, and that's what I'm saying.
And submit such a thing. And I'm not implying in any way, shape, or form an approval of such.
Mhm.
However, Nick brought up a good point that I hadn't thought about. You guys are 6 months into something that is much better, but not, I mean, it'd be tough to meet that.
The deadline.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that perhaps you might want to help them come up with some kind of plan. And I won't sit here and say 24 months, 36 months, 48 months, 60 months, I won't say any such thing. Because it's been my experience, once these things are full, it's hard and takes months and months and months to get it straight. Kind of like saying in the future.
But now, you just said when it's full, but if we're not allowed to use the gravel areas, it would not be full, right? Correct?
That's a good point. That's a good point. You're listening to what I'm not saying.
I'm just trying to figure it out,
So
I'm
I
sorry.
think,
Trying to
again,
figure
and
it out.
again, I really, sitting here, I can't comment on any of those things, make any suggestions. Ryan certainly perhaps knows what I'm thinking, and he can get you guys something together and get it, make something fit.
Hopefully get us on the right path.
Well, hopefully. But the blacktop or concrete or gravel is in front of us right now.
Right. And we discussed the timeline before, like I said, of doing this, paving part of it, not the other part. And I thought it was a consensus of the board that it's gonna fill up fast, and trying to move all these customers' belongings around, I couldn't see it happening. We've been down this road.
You store these boats during the winter, in the summer you're gonna store their trailers?
I would say, if you want the trailer store.
So that refers back to his comment, because when you got a boat on a trailer, it's hard to get it out of the pavement. Now the boat's floating over here, and the trailer's sitting there, so you got the same situation again, just minus 2,000 plus pounds. So, you know, you see the point is that if you get in there and you got it parked on gravel,
Mhm.
it's gonna be near impossible to get those moved over or out of the way so you can get in there and pave it. So I think what Jerry's saying is probably best to work something out, you know,
Well-
with your engineer.
I think there's a few of us that understand the storage business in town, and I've said it before, Ray knows, Nick knows, Jeff probably knows, John probably knows. I don't think you realize how fast it's gonna fill up.
Probably don't.
You have no clue.
It's our first venture.
You have no clue, so. Okay, Mr. Austin, any other suggestions? Get back to the blacktop and the gravel?
You have a developmental variance application before you on a waiver of asphalt. Safety condition for requirements.
If they chose to ask for a deferral and came back next month with a phase plan for completion, would that satisfy our ordinance and the 12-month window of opportunity they have with their variance of use?
Our ordinance doesn't provide for that, but if you deemed it appropriate, but you could live with that by way of a decision, you could impose that reasonable condition. And you could establish timelines, possible surety requirements. Surety would probably be the best insurance policy here to accomplish what has been suggested, begun in discussion here.
Now, was was anything that the plan commission agreed on contingent on this approval tonight?
No, this application was not before the planning commission made its action. This came subsequent.
Okay, so nothing that the plan commission did is hinging on this decision tonight?
Best that I can tell from correct.
It's in our zoning ordinance.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure, you know, site plan or anything else that got approved, or that
No,
contingent
site
on
plan
that?
was not going to be acted on at their next meeting because we wouldn't have this decision and be able to have a timely submittal. They had approval for preliminary plat, for primary plat, site plan and secondary plat, your final plat, or what's left. It was discussed at the last plan commission meeting when they got primary plat. I'm sorry, excuse me, that the submittal probably wouldn't be ready and be able to be reviewed by our engineer for site plan. The site plan is contingent upon, we have to know if it's gonna be gravel or asphalt to continue the stormwater review of that.
Okay, all right.
And the formulas for those two different materials, and water flow, chime in, because I'm getting out of the end of my skis, is very small. However, it has to be reviewed as a certain product.
Can I ask that, so, depending on the outcome, like say, the vote is taken tonight, is that, so site plan would be coming next. With this variance, in my mind, it seems like it wouldn't be related to, okay, say this was denied theoretically, and then we said, okay, they came back with a plan. Would that be handled at plan commission under site plan approval?
Well, and that's what I was gonna ask Mr. Austin, based on what Mr. Bungie had suggested. Does any of that go to planning commission, or is it all here?
Site plan requirements do go to the planning commission.
The
Site plan
phasing,
requirement
the phasing of,
could, that could be a reasonable condition type decision made by the planning commission related to that site plan.
And I guess that's the question I was asking, if you say, okay, we're requiring you to do all pavement, and they say, well, okay, we'll honor that, we have a plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, whatever that is, would that be handled in plan commission? I mean, because you're theoretically not taking.
That submittal would probably need to come to the plan commission.
Would, okay.
I have a concern on a town council level. Beacon Point East had building of houses over there, and the dust was so bad that the dust was going all the way over to Larman and going to the conference grounds. I went over there and saw dust I couldn't believe on grills and windows. And so then they contracted with us to open a water hydrant and water down all that ground until they got those buildings in and got sod and stuff in there. So I don't want to see a bunch of dust flying all over the neighborhood there and getting complaints, because then that gives me headaches.
Bob,
I tell you that.
modern zoning and police powers are to prevent that. That's why your ordinance here has a paving requirement for commercial and/or higher use properties. And that's what this is. That's why it's in the book, and that's why they're here looking for a deviation from our book.
Can we ask for some sort of guarantee that this would be completed in the form of a letter of credit, a performance bond, something along those lines?
You can, and ultimately probably will. You don't know what their proposal is, however.
Right.
So until you have that assessment of surety and/or compliance guarantees, can't really be made.
I'd feel more comfortable renting any type of phase construction if we had some sort of monetary guarantee that they're going to complete it in a timely fashion. That way the trailers will be moved, or the check will be cashed.
And as you know, John, we've cashed in letters of credit.
Right.
And it works.
Right. But that was like on subdivisions and that, and I was wondering if it held true to.
This is a subdivision. This is a one-lot subdivision proposal to the Plan Commission, which is given with conditions of primary approval.
Sure.
And it's hand in glove with what your approval here is for the standard. They kind of are married.
So, John brought up a really good point on that, but as far as those details and the numbers, regarding that bond or whatever it may be to guarantee this, who's gonna handle that? That's not something that we're.
Well, they'll probably give you engineering estimates, but your engineer will check off on an appropriate amount.
Okay.
Based upon whatever it is that will be installed and what it will be required to be installed.
So basically, what I'm gathering from a few of you guys is you're looking for a timeline, something that's not, maybe this, maybe that. You want something on paper and making sure that it can be guaranteed that it's done monetarily.
It needs to be handled like a subdivision.
Okay.
And I agree with John. I think there is, this plan actually looks better than the original one.
Right.
However, it's different from the original one, and if that's legal, I guess it is what it is, but,
so they become.
if they come present a phasing plan of some kind to the planning commission, they can certainly be, looked over and discussed at the next work session, and, we'll go from there.
So it's gonna go to the plan commission, these gentlemen are gonna draft up some kind of plan, and you're telling me it's gotta go to the plan commission first? But I thought that this all came down to a variance that the BZA needed to grant.
Going on here. The site plan would be the subject of amendment or revision or final site plan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the development standard, the criteria by which improvements are to be constructed on that approved site plan, i.e. asphalt or concrete, or not,
Right.
as the base for the
In our,
parking, storage, and related.
in our decision tonight, directly affects the site plan.
Well, the bottom line is I wanna see asphalt there, and maybe we can have this debate about how we get there, but it's in our zoning ordinance to be paved, and I think it should be paved, so I don't know where you guys wanna go with this from here, but it's your decision.
If we, Dave, if we act on this tonight and he gets denied, then he has to wait a year for another request,
He does, so unless it's,
unless it's substantially different.
Correct.
Is that a motion?
No, I just wanted to make sure that these folks were aware of that if the board decided that way.
You understand?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will withdraw our request.
Just withdraw the request.
Withdraw the whole request, everything
Well,
that's entailed.
or defer. I think a lot of, the next steps with our site plan's gonna depend on the outcome and kind of see where it's going, so I think rather than go down that path, it's like, okay, we gotta come up with a phasing plan, basically. So really, if that's the case, then I mean, the variance doesn't really affect that because it's gonna get paid, and now we're moving to the next step where it's, okay, now we're working with you on a timeline and, the letter of credit or the bonding, that was, discussed earlier.
Mr. Chairman, you should also keep in mind, you've heard it all tonight, there's gonna be some surety requirement discussed and/or required. Okay, so if the ultimate decision here or at the plan commission, the site plan, the final plan, so.
Dave, how would they, proceed to get in a phased-in, asphalt program? Would that go here or to the,
BZA has that,
all right,
because of the asphalt, it's kind of a waiver for a period of time. Flip how that is presented.
Let's not call it a phasing of asphalt. Let's call it a phasing of completion. These guys using this inside for whatever they want to store in there. There's nothing to do with dust in the parking lot or anything else.
Phase construction is
Yes.
all it's
Yep.
gonna be, if it goes that way.
Yep.
And because it affects, the parking or the ingress, egress, or the storage, that's why it's here.
So where are you guys at on this? Do you wanna withdraw, do you wanna defer and come up with a plan, you know? What do you suggest?
It sounds
Their
like.
plan needs to go to they're gonna do a phasing of construction, then that probably needs to go to the plan commission.
That'll be part of the site plan approval also.
Yeah.
Again, this is about materials,
Yeah.
solely about the material or lack of it, or
So,
delay of it for a period of time.
so this is deferral or no deferral? That's where we're at.
No, right now, I think the decision is asphalt or no asphalt.
No, I meant what they said.
Right, but deferral, in 30 days, there's nothing gonna change.
Well,
Are you gonna change my mind in 30 days?
Well, and I guess that's kind of the question I asked was that, or that I suggested withdraw, because it sounds like, okay, it has to be asphalt, and now we're at the point, it's gonna be, you either do it all at once or you phase it, and then, so that's where I'm trying to, is that solely decided on in the site plan, and so whether it gets denied or not tonight, okay, now we're on to, you guys have to pave, let's work on a phasing plan.
I would have no problem with his request for a withdrawal.
Is that what you're requesting, guys?
I think that would be, I think that would allow us, okay, the next steps are now we regroup and we get together a plan for, there's the phasing of completion, but also I think we're gonna have to have a discussion about, do we need to request an extension? Because if the deadline's coming up January 1 of 2022, I think it's gonna be pretty close
That's your most important thing to be working on probably right now.
Yeah.
You
And-
have a lot of homework to do.
And I guess my question with that, is that a BZA action or is that a plan commission action where they, the
No, that
request?
was BZA. The
request
use
for
variance, the
the,
use variance is bound to expire in
okay,
January
so
of
it'll be
2022.
coming here and request an extension.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So you guys are requesting a withdrawal for now for this?
I think that makes
Okay.
the most sense.
All right, do we need a motion on this, Mr. Ross?
You should acknowledge on the record the request to withdraw and take a motion in a second to acknowledge and accept same.
Okay. All right, so the petitioner is requesting a withdrawal. Do I have a motion to accept that?
I make a motion to accept that.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, motion by Mr. Wilkening, seconded by Mr. Bungie to withdraw this motion, or withdraw this petition. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapura?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
Yes.
Mr. Ruffalo?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. All right, thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, item number 4, new business, Piers Developmental Variance, owner petitioner Peter and Diane Piers, 9723 West 130th Place, Unit A, in Cedar Lake, Indiana, property being in the vicinity of the same. The developmental variance is to allow the petitioner to build a deck over the existing concrete patio with a 6-foot side yard setback and a 21-foot rear yard setback. Legal in order?
In order.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Do we have a petitioner for this item? Please step on up and state your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Pete Piers, 9723 West 130th Place, Unit A, Cedar Lake.
Okay. And your request?
For developmental variance.
Yep.
Due to hardship.
Okay, and it's exactly how I stated. What I stated, you're looking for putting a deck, wooden deck, I'm assuming a wooden deck over the...
It's wood, but it's the track deck, it's all
Okay.
maintenance free.
Okay.
PVC lattice.
Okay. All right. Building department, do you have any comments?
No, enclosed in your packet, they have a small deck, if you'll call it that, out in the back of their house.
I got a picture of it.
There are pictures included in your packet of what they currently have and what they would like to have.
All you wanna do is make that all the same level as that small wood deck there now, right?
Yeah, I would like to eliminate, there's a 4-inch step down on that, what you call it, or what they call a deck for access, the builder had put there. It's gonna be the elevation of the slider door.
Yeah, you wanna,
Yes.
you wanna bring it out
And
so
it's
you
gonna be
can
the
step out the slider door and the deck is all the same level. With stairs going off the
West
that way.
side, the west side.
Is that, okay. That's where that open spot is on the west side,
Yes.
between the deck and the house.
And it's...
So that was the east side, isn't that garage, that's a garage wall right there, right, next to the patio? Is that your east wall?
That's my east elevation wall.
Okay.
Right in this picture right here, if you're looking at that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking basically northwest or west.
What is that? Is that a 10 by 10 concrete pad you got down there?
It's 12 by 15.
Oh, okay, and so the wooden deck would go right in the footprint of that concrete pad?
No, actually, it's gonna go back to the house under the slider door,
Right.
and then he's gonna bring it out. There's a blank spot behind the grill that's grassy.
Okay.
He wants to bring it out over that grassy spot too.
Oh, okay, all right.
My understanding, correct?
Yeah, do they have this?
They have
Yeah, it's in the
Okay.
packet
Yeah.
there.
This is a drawing I made up at work.
It just doesn't show the deck in relation to the concrete pad. I was just...
Well, what I originally wanted it,
If you look at the tape measure,
Here, see
that
it?
out there, that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea.
Okay,
See, he's gonna bring it back to this wall,
okay,
and out to here, it's gonna be the same level as the door.
okay,
All right?
all right.
So he's adding a little,
That's it, right?
yeah, a little
Okay.
extra.
the reason for that is so I can have dual handrails
parents are in an emergency situation, but basically she just wants usable space out the back. If she can't go out there, that wooden deck, that existing one that's there now, sir, you can't even put a chair on it.
Right.
She can't even put a flower pot there. And I'm gone all day. I'm a pipe fitter superintendent up at O'Hare. I leave the house at 3:30 in the morning, and I don't get home until 6 at night. And she's basically by herself, or the grandkids come over. I want a usable space so the grandkids can hang out with her on a deck. That road that we live on is getting busier and busier. And it's just safety concern, really, peace of mind.
Okay.
And I went through the HOA, you know, architectural committee, everyone's happy about it, and they can't wait to see it get built.
So do we have to get any approval from Monastery Woods like we do with Lindsway on these projects? Isn't Lindsway, I'm sorry, Havenwood, don't they require?
Havenwood, you need to get an approval from the HOA in Havenwood before you can approve or deny anything here.
It's not the case in
But
Monastery
as far
Woods?
as I know, Lindsway, are you in Lindsway?
Monastery.
As far as I know, neither one of them are requesting approval from them, are they?
Just, all they wanted to know was color, and I matched everything up, and then the architectural committee, member came to my house, and I showed him all the stuff that you should have in front of you, and he said, awesome, looks great.
And it's the picture of the deck you're gonna put up in there then?
Correct, that's
Right.
Trek deck, and then, white PVC,
Yeah.
So this is gonna be the same footprint as the patio, except for a set of stairs.
yes. And originally, I tried to do it so that you put like the deck that's there now, the builder left me for access, I don't even think it's to code, because he put galvanized caps on the bottom 4x4s. I'm in construction, you know.
Well, that was where I was going with my next question. Go ahead.
Well, I'm doing it the right way. I'm doing it according to code.
Are you gonna be able to keep that footprint of the pad that's there now? Because it's not probable it has a footing. So if you put a deck on top of that, it's gonna raise up, it's gonna go down.
Right.
Are you gonna end up over that pad bigger than you have to, because you have to get the posts
Right.
Yes.
for the cross lines?
Yes, I will, yes.
And that's all good?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And your neighbor has a deck already too, right? The
Yes,
neighbor
sir.
that's next door to you?
And I enjoy your name.
Did they get a variance for that one too, or is that one smaller? That was gonna be my next question. Is this something that we've granted in this subdivision before?
I did not look at that.
Well,
I looked at it individually.
I think it boils down to the hardship of his wife.
He's trying to create,
I say call him administrators and let's vote.
Yeah, I didn't want to get in a situation where the deck has to be 2 feet bigger now, because you're not busting it, you gotta get out beyond the pad.
the deck is as proposed. He came in for a building permit, and that's what triggered him to come in front of you. It was reviewed by Tony and Michelle.
As long as the building department looked at it, I'm good.
Okay, can you please just have a quick seat, sir, and we're gonna see if we've got anyone would like to speak. Do we have any remonstrators for or against this variance? Anybody here for or against this variance? Ms. Murray, do we have anything online?
No, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, please step back up, Mr. Pierce. All right. Let's,
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion.
real quickly, one more chance for any other discussion? Probably not, but just, I don't want anyone to miss out on any camera time or microphone time. Jeff, you got anything? I do not, no? Okay, all right, you guys good?
Good,
All
good
right,
request.
All right, cool. All right, Jerry, please.
I have one question. Are you just gonna do one set of stairs, or do you want approval for another in and out of there? Are you good with the way you're putting stairs off the back of the house? It's totally up to you.
I'm perfect the way
Okay.
the design shows.
Okay.
It'll have rails on both sides, so when she goes down, she has a railing, when she comes up, she has a railing.
Perfect.
And she probably won't be using it too much, because our yard is sloped real steep too, she'll fall. So
Yeah.
basically, that's for safety, in case of fires in the front, I gotta have stairs. you know?
Yeah,
Thank you for asking.
No, just wanna make sure you're covered. Yeah, you're good.
Good question. Here, you gotta get a motion, or?
Yeah, they got that,
Okay.
okay?
Yes, sir, I'm entertaining a motion.
All right, I won't make this entertaining. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we approve the developmental variance to allow the petitioner to build a deck over the top of an existing concrete patio with a 6-foot side yard setback and a 21-foot rear yard setback with the findings of fact.
Thank you, do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion by Mr. Wilkening, seconded by Mr. Jackson, to approve this developmental variance as presented, including the findings of fact. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapura?
Yes.
Mr. Bumke?
Yes.
Mr. Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you for your
again.
time.
Yep. All right, item number 5, Gertzma Developmental Variance, Cedar Lake MHC LLC. The owner is Cedar Lake MHC LLC, William Jansma, P.O. Box 270 in Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is Katie Gertzma, 8033 Gordon Place in Highland, Indiana. Property being in the vicinity of 9001 West 133rd Place, Lot 40. This developmental variance is to allow the petitioner to bring in and renovate a home on Lot 40 in Cedar Lake Mobile Home Community Plan Unit Development with an unknown age. Counselor?
Legal's in order, public hearing may be conducted.
Thank you, sir. Petitioner, please state your name and address for the record.
Katie Giertzma, and 8033 Gordon Place, Highland, Indiana, 46322.
Thank you. And your request is?
I guess my request is to completely rebuild a modular home that I had bought.
Can I stay?
This is my dad, he's.
Oh, yeah, please
the
state.
This is my daughter.
All right, please state your name and address.
Okay, my name is John Geertzma,
Okay.
8033 Gordon Place in Highland, Indiana.
All right.
I'm a renovator. I've renovated houses, I've done everything. I saw this property, I saw this unit, and the outside looks shabby, but the structure itself is solid. It's got fantastic walls, the floor joists are good, so I said, Katie, we can take this and turn it into a brand new building,
Yeah.
the way she wants it. You know, the floor plan was off, was not what she wanted. I said, we can change the walls, we can take apart anything that's rotted, we can, we started rebuilding it, and then we didn't know that this, the 30-year
Yeah, we
thing
weren't
was,
told
and we don't even know how old the building is.
Okay.
But the structure itself is fantastic. And we're planning, she's planning on putting like $26,000 into it. So we don't want anything shabby, we want it, it's gonna look gorgeous, it's gonna look like a brand new building. We're gonna look brand new siding, there won't be any rotten anything. We're gonna take the outside aluminum off, we're gonna put the vinyl siding up, we're putting brand new, we stripped all the electric out, we stripped all the plumbing out, we're saving, as a renovator, I save what I can. If it's still usable, I save it. If it's not, I get rid of it and put new stuff in or something comparable.
And,
Okay.
just like a preference of why I decided to do this instead of just buying a modular home, is, when I went to this place, there was some brand new places there, but I don't know, like, you all are builders, probably, maybe, but if you look at modular homes, they fall apart really quickly and are kind of made of junk. And I'm not really interested in investing in something that is made of garbage. So, the idea was to buy a place that was, like,
So bad that you had to replace it all?
Not,
To
well,
make it
I
nice?
wanted good
Exactly.
bones,
Yeah.
but everything else
Yeah, I got you.
gotten rid of.
It has
So-
2x4 walls, we pulled all the insulation off, it's all brand new insulation.
I don't
It's gonna be,
Yeah.
it's gonna be brand new.
Okay.
I don't know if you want it, I have a blueprint, and I also wrote all the stats
Yeah, if you could pass those out to the board members.
I just have this, so I don't have my.
Yeah, we'll pass that around, thank you.
Is this in place already?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, there was a person that had already bought it, and it was placed on the lot, and, they wanted to renovate it, that's tongue twister. But the person duped out of it, and so when I went to this place, or this community, the modular home community, the owner of the place sold me it. So it was already on.
So it's already said, this is the place.
Okay, oh, yeah, this is.
You know what it is, yeah.
This
It's an eyesore.
is getting deep now, go ahead.
But this is.
Well, she's using, yes, that's, you're using the phrase modular home.
Yeah.
That's a mobile home park.
It's a mobile, yes,
It's a
thank
mobile
you.
home park. This structure, in these color pictures, this is that structure right now. We have some color pictures all done inside.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And what we
Floor.
did, what we did is, it was a two-bedroom module home, we made it into one, we made it
But it's
custom
just
to
me.
her.
Yeah.
You know, according to what, we cut off 14 feet of it. And we used all the lumber, all the lumber that was usable and still in good shape and structurally sound, we used to reconstruct the inside. And we have plans with your graces to remove any of the rotten wood and replace it with.
I guess what John's getting at is, how did you get there in the first place?
Well,
With an unknown age.
that's why I wanna back up a second, and I wanna get some building department input from this, maybe we've got some
Okay.
answers.
Okay.
Jill, can you please fill us in here?
Tim and Tony were looking at this one. It came to light that the mobile home community, when they adopted and updated their PUD guidelines back in 2016, one of the items in there was homes moved into the park shall not exceed 30 years of age. Looking at the structure, we could not find an age on it. We could not find a tag on it.
Well, they didn't look very hard.
No, we looked hard.
We've looked.
Not you,
Yeah.
those two.
Tony and Tim looked too, so, anyway, so one of the, reviewed and looked at with Tim on this advertisement here was to allow the petitioner to bring this in and to renovate it. We don't know the age of it. And
All right,
since
but-
their PUD
That's
guidelines.
not what John's saying.
My question is, was this there originally, or did the person before you bring it in?
It was there before I got there. So the person that bought it brought it in before me.
He brought it in, so then the question arises, why did they violate the PUD?
And that's why the request is dual. One is to allow the petitioner to bring it in. The petitioner, being Bill Jansma as the owner, having that brought in.
What's it sitting on?
On concrete, it's a full concrete slab, it's not
So
partial.
it'll never be moved again?
It's completely full.
No, it's on a concrete slab.
It's on a.
It's
so
not- but
wide
it's
slab.
But it still has wheels under it?
Yes, they were taken off though now.
Yeah,
So, but
perfect.
it
Yeah,
still
but
can
it
be put
still
back
has
on.
The axle and
Has everything.
the tongue on it?
Yep.
And everything?
So this ordinance that, we're getting a variance from, or requesting one, the age, that's what this is all about, the age of it, and that was 40 years?
Thirty.
Or 30 years?
Yeah.
Okay,
30 years, so progressive, you know.
yeah, so this was agreed upon in a PUD that was negotiated with the town at some point.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Mr. Jansma and
We
his
have-
son-in-law.
Oh, you guys did? Okay,
Oh, yeah,
good.
Mr.
So-
Jansma and his son-in-law came in here and started this, came back for at least 2 visits, maybe 3, with the PUD, the, code of conduct, what can be done, what can't be done, what they have to approve, roofs, and I said, how do you know somebody's not gonna put pink metal on the roof of their place, and it all has to be approved by them? It was so detailed on their behalf to us. It even included
Dogs?
no dogs left outside after dark, on a leash.
Wow. So this is great you guys are here, because I'm just wondering what exactly, I could guess, but what's the intention of that 30-year rule? Why did they represent it to you? You just want to keep going?
To
Go ahead.
abate the use,
I'm sorry, Dave?
to abate the use.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Jansma, this is not good.
Not good in what way?
Well, it's just not good that showed up there,
Yeah,
on his watch,
right.
knowing full well it was 30 year and him not being able to prove what year it is. Now, these pictures we're looking at here, it's 3/4 of the way done,
Right. It's,
which makes it
well,
much newer.
it's probably gonna look better than some of the 10-year-old ones in there.
It's gonna look brand new.
You don't say.
And, you know, the thing is, I know you want your town looking good, and we're gonna make it look good. We're gonna.
And if I
it's
knew
gonna be
about
brand
the,
new.
I can see what-
I wouldn't have bought
Inside
it.
and out.
Yeah.
I can see what you guys are doing. I sense your intentions, and I can see your intentions here. We're just doing a little reminiscing.
Had we
We're
known-
doing a little reminiscing of
If I
time here,
had
that's all.
known, I wouldn't have bought it, and honestly, I was a little
We're a
little
little
angry.
angry, yeah.
Yeah.
So you
But
guys.
I saw he said, we bought for $1,000, and I saw $5,000 worth of wood
Mhm.
underneath, and on the 2x4 walls, that was salvageable, you know?
So you bought it from the owner of the park?
Yes,
I
I
bought it
did.
from the owner that we bought it from.
I think somebody needs to do a review on how much other stuff's been brought in there that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Because he wrote his own PUD.
Yeah.
And he still did it. Anyway, that's.
It's unfortunate there's been this position.
Well, it is, it is.
It's
But-
possible we permitted it.
Don't say that.
Possible what?
I'm just
We
saying,
permitted it.
anything, this is an obscure law in our town, right?
Yeah.
We have only one of these, it was specialty.
All right.
Anything could have happened,
He said maybe it got permitted to be brought in.
it's possible. We don't have an entire file for that,
No.
entire community.
Is
And those
there
people aren't in the room.
any documentation from either the previous present owner or the previous owner as far as a log of transactions for people bringing trailers in and out and putting them on?
I think,
Passed away.
yeah, Mrs. Austin passed away, but Mr. Jansma, I thought originally brought in, what was existing and what wasn't. Site plan, that's what you're getting at.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, if you want to call it a
I
site
think-
plan, yeah.
I think some discovery on that part is not what we're looking at here.
Well, I guess the thing that plays over in my mind, if this wasn't an existing mobile home before the 2016 PUD, wouldn't its location be grandfathered in already? Because it predates the
Good point.
PUD?
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Unless
It
the PUD
it wasn't
agreement.
on lot 40 when the PUD was adopted.
When did that show up on lot 40? Best guess.
I do.
Best guess. 2
my
years ago?
best guess, past year.
Okay.
And it wasn't
So that's my
already there in
best
that
guess.
community? It didn't
No.
just get shuffled around, it got brought on site from outside?
My best guess without phoning a friend.
They won't,
You would
they won't
like-
answer, it's too late.
I did get a picture, which, because I had already sent you your packet, I didn't put on there. If you wanted to see what it looks like on the outside, I can share that with
If you
you.
don't mind.
I think what they're doing here is fantastic.
Thank you.
It looks like quality work to me, I mean,
And then it's on a pad.
Okay.
I don't think it's the issue who brought it in.
That's what it looks like now?
That's what it looks like on the outside.
We weren't able to get the siding done because we wanted to get the roof done, because otherwise the siding would get all
The
destroyed.
siding's done right now?
No, not, no.
We're stopping.
It's in its original exterior condition still?
Right now, we
That
put a
picture.
new roof on, we put a new roof on that's completely independent of the old roof.
Okay, so that's a current photo as of today, then, right? So nothing's
Current
happened?
as of the past
Or-
couple weeks.
And then what we plan on doing is taking that old aluminum off.
Yeah.
Because that's all it is, it's just aluminum and then the 2x4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that aluminum, we're gonna scrap that,
Well,
and then, we got a pellet window, we got a pellet sliding door, we got, a bunch of things that we're planning on doing.
Okay.
In your educated guess, how old do you think it is?
I don't do a lot of mobile homes, but it looks darn old to me.
We have a
You know.
spray painted number that was on the
Right, it
the
said
thing,
26
but I don't know
years,
how
I
to go
think,
with that.
but we don't know if that's true.
Yeah, and, I mean, it's spray painted on it.
And you don't know
so-
how long ago that spray paint could have been applied.
Yeah, we don't even know if
Yeah.
it's valid.
I mean, I know it's kind of fading away because of the rust, but that's about it. It's not really valid.
All right,
looking.
thank you.
We certainly appreciate the rest.
Yeah,
The
we-
what?
Duro Motor Vehicles?
No, there's no number, there's nothing you
There
can
was
trace.
nothing. There was
We
like,
went underneath that thing,
So there's no identifier.
yeah.
we tried,
We found like 2 tags that were saying something, but it didn't
That's
have
for-
a date or anything. I don't know what it
for a
was.
water heater.
Oh, yeah.
All right, would you folks mind having a seat real quick, please? Yeah.
You know,
Jen, are there any remonstrators for or against this variance in attendance? Anyone for or against the variance? Ms. Murray, anything online?
No, sir.
Okay. Sorry I didn't give you enough time to get the seat warm, but you can come back up. Public portion is closed. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I think it's, I think I would not like to see this happen again, but I understand the end product's gonna be better than most products in that community.
It'll be an
But,
improvement.
I think that just to CYA, that if we're gonna make a motion to approve this, maybe we make a motion that when the motion is made, that the exterior is updated, so it's on pavement, you know? If you guys don't mind, just
No, that's perfect.
We're gonna do it anyway.
I wouldn't
And
do
you're-
it.
I know, but
It doesn't
just,
look like that.
Yeah,
I'm
and also, what's a timeline that this will be complete?
Once you give us the okay, we're gonna go right away.
We were
Maybe
supposed
six
to
months?
finish.
We'd be
No.
done-
Oh, yeah.
Done in 6
It would
months?
be-
We're gonna be done.
Yeah,
for
we'll
that.
be done by then. We were supposed to be done by the end of August.
So what number works for you for a completion date?
What do you want? 6 months?
Give us 6
6
months.
months.
Okay, does everybody have an issue with 6 months?
I don't have an issue. Jill, did you have anything else on your end about this? No? Okay, I'm okay with 6 months if the petitioner is okay with 6 months, for completion. And I guess, so a permit would be pulled just like a stick-built house, and then we'll have-
You would want a certificate of occupancy
Yep.
within 6 months?
yeah, that's where I'm getting at, occupancy, you know?
Is there, I heard the title word here a few minutes ago. Do we have to do anything to help them get a certificate of authenticity or a title or something like that? That's all on them?
There's nothing you can do.
I just wanna,
You guys filed
Yeah, we
something,
can
didn't
go,
Yeah.
we'll go after it.
Going for it, yeah.
if I could, 6 months puts us in February. I just wanna make sure with
Yeah.
weather, coming in the winter, that your 6
Recommend-
months is
recommend
all
May
6
first.
months.
Yeah, I would like to give you folks a couple more months, too,
Okay.
especially if we have the winter they're talking about us having.
A
What?
a
We'll
permit
take
is,
it.
a permit is 1 year. from
Don't tell them, Jeff,
date of
don't
issue.
tell them.
Thank you.
No, no worries.
If you want it completed within a year of this approval,
Well,
that would be Rule 6.
well, it's up to you.
Yeah, this, I mean, what they're doing here is fantastic. And if there's an equal opposite reaction, it's good, this is it. And they've been nothing but honest about all this.
And if you ever want to just come and make sure that we're doing what we're doing, I'm totally fine with that, just let me know and I'll.
We're not helping, we're just watching.
Oh, okay, well, I don't know.
So a May deadline, you think that that's probably best Sunday?
I do.
Yeah, get out of the weather and get into a couple of nice months if they need to.
Yeah, a year makes sense, but get it done.
Okay.
So I can get it on.
Yeah.
All right, any other board discussion?
Gotta nail it right.
No? Jeff, do you have anything?
I have nothing.
Anything more?
No, this is a great outcome considering how it started.
And you're right.
I'm hoping Mr. Gertzman can find some more of them in there to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been asked.
Maybe we need to talk to Mr. Jansma about that.
Not a bad idea.
Does,
No comment, Mr. President?
yeah, the comment is, I need a motion.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve this developmental variance to allow the petitioner to bring in and continue working on and renovate a home on Lot 40 in the Cedar Lake Mobile Home Community Plan Unit Development with an unknown age, with a completion date of May 1st, 2022, with the findings of fact. And to include siding be completed also.
I like that motion. Do we have a second on the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion, go ahead.
If I may I ask for clarity on the completion being a issuance of certificate
An issue of occupancy by May 1st, 2022.
I concur with my second.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion by Jerry, seconded by John, to allow this developmental variance for the petitioner to bring in and renovate a home on Lot 40 in Cedar Lake Mobile Home Community Plan Unit Development with an unknown age, with the contingencies that occupancy is issued by May 1st, 2022, and siding is to be replaced, and to include the findings of fact. Do you folks understand the motion?
Agreed.
Okay, with it? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Caporo?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
Yes.
Mr. Recupedo?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thanks for coming in, guys. Yep.
Katie, you want your board back?
Oh, unless, if you want to keep it.
No, we're good.
Okay.
You might want to make some changes.
Yeah, you never know.
Item number 6, Cedar Lake Property LLC, variance of use and developmental variance. The owner is James and Samantha Brooker, 17316 Camelot Drive in Lowell, Indiana. Petitioner is Cedar Lake Property LLC, 17316 Camelot Drive in Lowell, Indiana. Property is in the vicinity of 7936 Lakeshore Drive. The first request is a variance of use to allow the petitioner to have 2 businesses on a lot in a B2 zoning district and to allow outdoor dining not to exceed 6 tables with seating for 4 patrons at each. Counselor?
In order, public hearing may be conducted.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a petitioner for this item? You folks, please come on up and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, my name is Doug Holmeyer with McMahon, 952 South State Road 2, Valparaiso, and with me is Mr. Jim Berker. I don't know his address, you'll have to fill that out.
My address is 17316 Camelot Drive, Lowell, Indiana.
All right, and regarding this first request, can you please explain what you're looking at doing there?
Yeah, we're looking at the property that Mr. Berker has. We're looking to, it's got the old, I don't remember what pizza place it is, you know where it is. And the existing house on there, and we're looking to turn into a 2-lot subdivision, leave the house on one of the lots that would be a rental house that would fall under hotel, because the property's all zoned B2. And then on the other property, we'd like to put a building that would house a Domino's Pizza and possibly a Dunkin' Donuts. And with that, we would need the 2 uses on the 1 lot. The building is intended to be 50 by 70 total, or 25 foot wide for each of the businesses. So, as we've met with the town staff to go over the original site plan, and we've tweaked it, and we've met with Jill and Rick and Don Oliphant to go over site plan, the layout, the required variances. So in order to proceed forward with the site plan approval and the 2-lot subdivision, we have to first come before you for these variances that were determined by your staff.
Okay.
So we're here before you to answer any questions that you have on this proposed development.
Okay. All right, thank you, guys. Counselor, do we want to handle these, each bullet point separately?
Yes.
I would suggest that you entertain the public hearing, the presentation and the public hearing component, remonstrance included in single fashion, then at the backside, act on each of them individually.
Okay, all right.
You get a single global presentation,
On each item?
yeah, and it'll include everything, and then
Okay,
you'll vote separately.
okay. Remonstrance separate on each item?
Remonstrance separate too.
Okay, all right, thank you,
Mass.
sir. Building department?
So this one, as noted, we're doing a two-lot subdivision, so I tried to address your variance of use. We'll start with the business lot where Rivoli's Pizza was. The variance of use one is to allow two businesses on one lot. So that would be, one of these businesses is proposed as a drive-through business, the other one, I think that was the Domino's Pizza was proposed, but two businesses in that one building.
Okay.
They were asking for outdoor dining in the front. Originally, we had thought it was going to be 6 tables with seating for 4 patrons each. They are actually going to be 4 tables with 4 patrons each.
Yes.
It was amended, so since it was smaller, the advertisement would cover that.
Okay.
The next one is a developmental variance on that lot. To put the outdoor dining in, there's not enough parking for the seats that they are asking for. Those seats would also be seasonal, but they do have a total of 30 parking spots on that site. And moving on in that developmental variance, what they were asking for, when we had our discussion, since there's the 2 businesses, there was the square footage equivalent of what 2 businesses would normally have on their individual lots, looking at putting in a monument sign. We anticipated not to exceed the 60 square feet, 2 building signs, 32 square feet, not to exceed, a menu board sign not to exceed 60 square feet, and directional signage, with all of this signage as a total not to exceed 184 square feet. So if signage needed to be adjusted because they needed more directional signage, it gives them a square footage overall footprint for the lot to work with. But the individual signs themselves could not exceed that size.
Okay.
And then the other one is for Lot 2, which is the home. The Lot 2, and if I may, all of these lots are zoned B2.
Okay, so we're talking 2 separate lots here, one separate lot for the home, another separate lot for the commercial development.
Correct, right now it is all one big lot.
Okay,
So that variance of use is to allow the existing home to be a vacation rental home on a lot in the B2 zoning district. And then the developmental variance is to allow parking in the front and side yards of the existing gravel driveway, and to allow the existing accessory structure on the north side yard to remain with a 17.6 foot side yard setback. Oh, and I totally missed a sentence on the other lot. Was the parking in front and side yards as well. I apologize.
what is that pertaining to, Joe?
All of the lots have parking in front and side yards. Both,
Okay.
both lots. I apologize, I missed.
Was that advertised, was it advertised?
It was advertised, yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So I put together, and I apologize, in your PDF and the iPad, it didn't turn. I put together a little arrow summary, kind of outlining each of the requests.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
Just,
Helpful.
I was trying to keep us awake.
Yeah.
If you want me to pass this around so you can
Oh,
read it, I don't know how to turn the page on an iPad.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, the iPad's good. Thank you. All right.
Since there were so many requests and the fact that it's one lot now and it's gonna be 2, I tried to kind of give you a summary of what pointing to what most of the requests were.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
That's very nice.
All right. Well, we'll start with the first item, gentlemen. The 2 businesses. So this has been before the Plan Commission?
Yes.
Yeah, this was hashed out in great detail, traffic, et cetera. I think there were some some good things came out of the discussion. One was the entrance angle. The two engineers agreed that, not having that drop down would be way better, so that's gonna be all raised up a little bit. It's gonna make leaving there much easier.
Okay.
We hashed out quite a few things. We did talk about the signage a little bit. We talked about the wall along the northwest side of the property, the retaining wall will have to be there because of the elevation. We talked about the renovation briefly of the home, existing. Anything else, John?
Well, we talked about parking, and the outside dining. One thing with the parking was that they were short parking space if they put the outside dining in, correct?
Yes,
7 spaces?
yes,
Is that right?
yes.
Yeah. And, I know the problems we've had at other restaurants with parking shortage, and I hate to see that happen. Now, the comment was that Domino's is more, delivery or pickup than an eat-in. So my question is, why do you want the outside dining?
Aesthetics, just a look in the, as you're driving by, I see a lot of outdoor seating establishments that aren't always full, but they look really nice, they're inviting.
Oh, I agree with that, yeah.
They're inviting, especially on the lake there. So,
How many tables are you gonna have inside?
inside typically, when we do a Domino's, you're putting, depending on the size, and on this size, the space that we normally do, we would put 2 booths, 2 to 3 booths.
What's the square footage of the building, the total building?
We got 70 by 50.
27 by 50?
3,500.
70 by 50.
70 by 50, okay.
3,500.
And all the freezers are in that footprint?
Correct.
Coolers,
They will be.
freezers are all in that footprint?
Yes, sir. No
They're
outside.
not hanging outside or
No,
anywhere
sir.
else? Nope.
So you guys were talking about a Domino's Pizza, but they were also talking about another.
Well, what they said is the Domino's Pizza, correct me if I'm wrong, is a definite.
Is a definite, correct.
But Dunkin' Donuts is a maybe.
Okay, well, your plan that you guys worked out with these gentlemen was taking into account 2 businesses.
2 businesses, right?
Okay.
Yes,
Right.
sir. The outdoor dining also included discussions of, 6-inch concrete filled impact posts, 4 feet apart.
So that's all gonna get taken care of if this moves forward?
It was all discussed, yeah.
Right.
It was all
Yes,
discussed.
that will all be, absolutely.
Okay.
The posts would be in there for safety, nice decorative handrail for looks. We were even talking about doing a pergola over the top possibly, if it's just for, again, looks and comfort, and we'll sitting outside.
So, okay, so this property currently, Jill, is 1 lot? With the home, it's all 1 lot?
Correct.
So
There's
two
two key numbers. There's 2
Oh, it is?
actual legal descriptions from the survey that I got from SMERSAC, the Alta survey.
It was all combined as 1 lot.
Okay.
2 addresses, right? We had 2 addresses.
So now there's 3 businesses on one piece of property, because we have 2 buildings.
But they're doing a 2-lot subdivision.
Okay.
So the house would be its own lot.
So with John, your concerns about parking, and I wasn't at the planning commission meetings, I know you keep trying to get me over there, but YouTube's the best I can do. But there wasn't any way of carving any portion of this lot out to add more parking to suffice the ordinance.
I don't think so, because, I believe there's a bunch of, some wetland in back and, what have you, and I think they're utilizing that piece as best they can for putting 2 businesses on it.
Okay.
I'm just, keep thinking back to when you go to pick up a pizza and you gotta park over at the town club to walk down and get it. Parking
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Because, yeah, no, that's why I said that.
Point taken.
On your site plan, I don't know if you can see it on the left there, the parking information is there that they would need, based on what they're proposing in those two buildings. 35 standard, those and 2 handicap, which includes outdoor seating with the 16 seats.
Right, and they've got 30 spots right now.
Right.
Right. I just don't want to see another situation as down the street. You know, that's the only thing I'm saying. I mean, I think it looks good, I think it works fine, you know, but I have to make that comment. The other question is, if a Dunkin' Donut doesn't go in there, what do you think would go in there?
Honestly, we come across, we do a lot of work for a lot of franchisees. We work for Jimmy John's, we do work, I could reach out.
So there'd be some sort of...
restaurant would be what we would look for.
Some sort of a fast food restaurant?
Possibly, yes. A lot more Jimmy John's have got drive-throughs, so they would utilize it.
Yeah, well, see, but the point I'm getting to is, depends on, if it's not a Dunkin' Donuts, then it depends on the next business, how many tables are you gonna have in there, because that could affect the number of parking spots. Again.
I think we proposed the Dunkin' Donuts as like a worst case with the drive-through, the traffic and different things, and accommodated on the plan for that, and spoke with a couple of the, as a matter of fact, our architect that we're using is someone that designs a bunch of these buildings, and I've got a picture, as I think you requested, Mr. Wilkening, of what the outside facade would look like, but he's one that does a lot of design for Dunkin' Donuts. He knows the requirements, and him reviewing this, he's more than pleased with the amount of room for stacking and drive-through for a typical Dunkin' Donuts that he has developed. So, and I think we agreed too that at the meeting a few days ago that Dunkin' Donuts is one of the busier restaurants we see that, and so if anyone were to, if they did not come in, I think anyone we would bring in would not be as busy.
Well, I think, I'm picking up what John's laying down here.
Mm-hmm.
You throw a Jimmy John's in there and you got 4 delivery guys, they're zipping in and out of the parking lot, they're taking up parking spaces.
Okay.
That changes the whole dynamic again, as far as sitting inside. So that's kind of why he's asking, and I'm thinking that's why he's asking in specifics, what else might be there.
Yeah, I mean, certainly that's all.
Is it safe to say it wouldn't be a delivery kind of business? That would not be a fair.
It's hard to say. I mean, truth be told, I think, with the way McDonald's is nowadays, they deliver, I mean, they got people that deliver for them in and out of their store.
What I'm getting at, though, is now there's even more traffic and more parking spaces being taken up by, the in and out, the delivery people now, as opposed to sitting in the drive-thru and everybody getting to the window.
Well, we have employee parking. I mean, they would be considered employees, so their car that they would normally be parking in the parking lot for as an employee is being utilized as a in and out. So, that in most cases where you don't have the delivery, those cars are occupying a spot for the whole shift. So. This year would be completely in and out. And I would like to add too, is we talked a couple of days ago as well, that the outside seating, we had talked that, okay, you've got a lot of boat activity across the street, very congested boat parking that would most likely would patronize, the people there would patronize by walking over and enjoy the outdoor seating and have a pizza or sandwich or coffee, whatever it might be. So again, parking, they would already have parking spots across.
Right.
Maybe. And that's, again, speculation. I certainly don't know. But
since you brought that up, how do you intend to handle that crosswalk traffic that you're anticipating?
Short of just painting a crosswalk there and a couple signs, I don't know if that's something I get into or if I work with the town, the Public Works or how that might work, but, we're certainly willing to, I mean, we're not building a bridge or a tunnel or anything, but certainly if we thought that it was gonna be a busy enough, problem, then sure, we'd like to address that.
Who takes care of the one by Bug Boost, the crosswalk? Who paints that every year?
The town's in charge of the crosswalk.
We had painted that one.
Okay.
We did one at the Eagles, one down by Gary Bell.
All right. Just making sure.
Now, that engineering firm, he felt that lot size there could handle a Dunkin' Donuts traffic? 'Cause that's like the worst drive-through line I've ever seen.
You're 100% right. We
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, Pete
Paraskis, and I've worked with him on at least a half a dozen Dunkin' Donuts throughout northwest Indiana. And the stacking meets requirements. We've taken on this layout, tracking to show that they could get their delivery trucks in, around, through this curve, through the front and back out, so that, we've done it on all its other sites. And this was originally set up, when I worked with Pete, he puts together a concept plan, and then we tweak it and make sure we can get vehicles in and out through tracking and that, and he's seen all of this and said, yeah, this definitely will work for Dunkin' Donuts.
Because that bleeds right into the roundabout right there, right? Is that kind of like...
it's at, right, I mean, that whole
Couple
property,
hundred feet from it.
whole property is, this year, 100% right.
Right. Now, Cedar Lake, I've seen that come and go, but one at Crown Point on Broadway, sometimes they're on Broadway trying to get into Dunkin' Donuts, so I'm just curious if someone really looked at all that.
All right, well, let's move along, gentlemen, and, I'll have you have a seat real quick, and it'll be real brief.
Or just stand there to the side.
Yeah, you're allowed to stand.
Why would you say it's gonna be brief?
Do we have any remonstrators for or against this variance request? Anyone here for or against the request? Ms. Murr, anything online?
No, sir.
No? All right, please take one step forward back to the podium. All right, Ms. Murr, do you have anything else on this item?
No, this one, the request is in front of you.
Okay.
It's going through the plating process at Plan Commission level. They've come back, twice now to Plan Commission with their concepts before proceeding.
Okay.
For clarification, 4 tables, 4 seats.
Or each,
Table,
correct.
right?
Yeah. 4 by 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Short of the parking, I think, the use of it, I like the idea. We need more pizza places in town.
It's a different one.
They all do well, though.
Jerry, you were talking about, moving the entrance as far east as you guys possibly could at the planning commission?
There was some mention of that. However, I think they wanted to use the existing apron.
I guess.
I don't remember if we had decided on the triangle, or right in and right out, but we decided that if you could go out left or right.
Yes.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, we decided that
yeah.
when you get there, go any way you want.
And we were gonna take part of the apron back because it was designed from Lake Shore Drive to meet the existing down there, and it's got kind of a steep slope down, so we're gonna back about 10 feet of the concrete off, so we got a nice smooth transition up
Yeah,
into the
that was,
property.
to leave there won't be like it is now. The engineers agreed to, pull a good portion, if not 3/4 of that apron out and raise it up. So,
And then driveway in is approximately how far down Lake Shore Drive from the roundabout?
I don't know, Jeff.
Any idea?
It's a great question as far as, I mean, it's hard to define where you start the roundabout, but I think
It
we're
looks
at
like,
least 100.
I mean, you've got 60, and then, to somewhere it's, I'm gonna guess,
It's fairly
I'm
close.
guessing 100.
100.
And there's no curbing or median for the split in the road for the roundabout?
No, it's just, there is no median between the two lanes of traffic.
Okay. But there is farther,
Yes. If you come out to go left, you will not run across any median.
okay.
That's.
Looks like maybe striping is what I was
They're
looking, maybe
striping.
it's
Yeah,
striping.
striping, yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they haven't picked it up on Google Earth yet.
Yeah.
I guess it'd just be a little.
You can
concerned
kind of
about
see it on your
traffic.
site plan here.
Well,
The hashing is,
That's what we shot in when we surveyed
is
it.
shot in here in your site plan.
yeah. Jeff, we beat the traffic thing up pretty bad.
Did you, okay.
And, I don't like the out and left, because I thought you could go out and go around the roundabout and then go back east if you wanted to.
It'd be a very British thing to do.
Well, I mean, 3 lefts make a right, so. Yeah, it was, I think we hit on every aspect of that, I think. And sometimes you just have to rely on good drivers.
That was in Michigan, right?
Yeah, I thought it was something, I thought the Michigan left was something legal. 'Cause I had no idea what it was.
It may not be legal, but it.
No, I found out it's not legal.
Are we-
Everybody's doing it.
Are we treating each one separately or all together?
No, you need to vote on each one separately.
Did you suggest we wait until the end of all this discussion, or do?
Yeah, wait, so we'll get through everything.
Yep, okay, all right,
And then go one at a time. I think there are 5.
okay, all right.
So we're good with the impact
Pretty
post,
property.
the outdoor seating, 4 tables, 4 seats,
I'm okay with that.
okay? 2 businesses.
Yeah, and like, Mr. Austin said, we'll entertain motions at the end here. Got all your notes, Jerry? Okay, good. All right,
Now you should be worried.
Yeah, I'm out now. The second variance request, allowing the petitioner to have parking in the front and side yards, total of 30 parking spaces on the lot. They had 1 monument sign not to exceed 60 square feet, 2 building signs not to exceed 32 square feet each, 1 menu board sign not to exceed 60 square feet, and directional signage, with all signage not to exceed a total of 184 square feet. Do I have to ask you, Mr. Austin, if the legals are in order, or can we assume they're in order for this entire?
Legals are in order for everything.
Okay, good deal. All right, gentlemen, please explain your petition. At least on that item.
Where did we? Okay. As we were going through it, we're asking for variances for the number of parking. We would meet parking if we didn't have outdoor seating, but with the outdoor seating, 16 seats adds 8 more parking spots, which leave us 7 short. We're asking for, basically, as Jill stated at the beginning, for the additional square foot for signage that would not exceed what would be equivalent of basically 2 uses for the 1 building. So if it was just 1 use in there, we basically doubled it because it's got 2 different uses in it, as outlined in Jill's signage breakdown in there. We have parking in front and along the side of the building on that, and since the existing driveway for the house is in front of the house, the cars will park in the driveway, so that's also considered parking in the front. And the existing garage or accessory building on the very north end of what will be lot 1, that's accessory structure that goes with the house, is 17.6 feet off the property line, which doesn't meet the current existing setbacks, so we're asking for a waiver for the side yard for that.
Sir, let's back up to the request here regarding the signs and the parking.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we're gonna hit them one at a time, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I thought he said you're gonna vote on all of them at one time.
No, I thought we were gonna go through them all at one time, but then vote on each one separately at the
Oh,
end.
okay.
Yeah, okay. Do we want to handle each point, you know, each request separately?
Let them make their presentation
Okay.
collectively.
Okay.
And then you go through and ask what you need to.
Okay, okay. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead, carry on, sir, I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, then we left off with the 17.6 side yard setback to keep the existing accessory structure that's behind the house. Did I miss any, Joe?
Just the parking in front and side yard on the existing home, they're asking to leave the driveway as the existing garage.
Okay. I didn't see that one on here.
Now, I'm just unclear with the signage, in what you gentlemen presented to us, it shows that signage equivalent to 2 businesses, and then it says 184 square feet, but you are proposing 2 businesses. So
Yeah.
what's the need for the variance request there?
Because on one lot, you're only required 2 signs.
Or that's your maximum?
Yeah.
Okay.
One 60 square feet and one 32, so you're
Okay.
only, based
You're
on our
only-
sign ordinance, you're only allowed,
92 square feet for the
Gotcha.
entire lot,
Okay,
for one business.
but only 2 signs.
okay,
So this would allow 1 sign on top of each door for the business on the front.
Mhm.
This would allow a monument sign in the front, allow for the drive-through menu board sign so they don't have to come back.
Okay.
We're giving them a not to exceed total square footage for the property because they also would have to have signage if they have any of, I'll call them the McDonald's drive-through signage where all the little
The
golden
little
arches
lit
tell
up
you how to
arrows,
get through the
yeah,
drive-through in the
yeah,
parking lot.
okay.
So all of those, currently, you have to, are considered a separate sign based on our ordinance.
okay. Now, is this building gonna have 2 drive-throughs or 1?
One drive.
One drive-through, and one drive-through sign?
Yes.
Gotcha, okay, all right. Very good.
And 2 businesses or 2 restaurants will share one drive-through.
The Domino's will not have a drive-through at all.
Domino's will not have a drive-through.
That was the town manager's suggestion.
It was originally proposed that each side of the building would have a drive-through.
Okay.
So if you were thinking where they could be operating, say Taco Bell and KFC, and then I walk over and deliver both, that was not the intent.
For 2 separate establishments?
2 separate establishments.
Only one of them will be drive-through.
Yes.
Next to Gar's, they had the shared drive-through there, where the smoke shop was, and then the bakery. I could go through the drive-through and order my donuts, and then I could go through and order my lottery tickets.
All right.
That's my comparison, but I think what you're bringing up, yeah.
Okay,
Actually, I thought maybe there was a new concept where you'd have one person in a pickup window that would service both restaurants at a common point right there. I mean, I didn't know, that's
how
kind
this
of,
is working yet?
that's kind of the way my head was thinking at the same time.
Do you need to touch on anything else on this request at all, Jill, or you got it covered?
I think I've kind of explained everything. Unfortunately, like we said, I should have brought the drone footage of when that roundabout was finished, because that gave a nice overview of the way that concrete pad is and everything, but Google Maps, Google Earth, and GIS has not caught up that our roundabout is there yet.
Okay. There you kind of missed this, but basically what's going on is it's on one lot, but they're only allowed signs for one business. So they want to double that and have signs for each business, but each one separately would meet our zoning ordinance. Domino's and then whatever, Jimmy John's. But it's gonna be double the signage that would be allowed for that property, correct? Other than the drive-through sign, you're gonna have one, but. Yeah.
We touched on that briefly,
Okay.
planning commission. I made mention that, you know, this isn't on 41. People don't need to know from 10 miles away where the Domino's is at. Not knowing where those signs are gonna go and what they're gonna be, I'm just afraid it's gonna look like Lake County Fair. You know, we have to know where the signage is, otherwise we'll end up with, you know, a sign on somebody's roof facing the lake, like we already have.
So with those comments that you made, sir,
Yeah.
at the last meeting, I just wanted to show you real quick, if you don't mind, just to get an idea. We certainly heard you and agree that nothing needs to be super big and elaborate, and as you well know, you can go down 41 and the signs are in your face, and we're not looking to do that.
I think you're gonna,
the building.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna get more boat traffic than you think. I also think that, you know, people can find the lighthouse in the dark.
Absolutely.
Can find this place in the dark.
Sure.
You can find their docks in the dark.
We don't disagree with you, we agree.
So some kind of scaled down picture of what's gonna, that's not what you're going to do. That's a sample.
This is an idea to show you that we are looking at do the signs more this way than the one in the background for McDonald's.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd also, but we also would, I think we need an exhibit to actually, you know, make.
Well, ultimately, so if you look at here, the down sign in the back is what I think you were thinking that might go in, and here would be just a smaller version of.
And then a sign like this, and an in arrow and an out arrow, is that what?
I don't think we have to even worry about in and out arrows. The Domino's that I built don't.
Won't all this be addressed at the plan commission?
I mean, typically, and maybe it doesn't happen in Cedar Lake this way, but in all the towns we work in, I mean, the signs are the last person that ever, you know, even though the reason we're addressing it here tonight is because we have the two businesses on one lot, but, you know, signage typically gets approved at the building department level, and.
No, I meant what it's gonna look like.
Yeah,
as far as a rendering?
But he's asking for more, so I'm asking for a little more clarification.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
So is that what you were thinking more about on the smaller,
something a little discreet,
I've got an idea, what I would see in there.
Did you see this?
No, I see it from here. Yeah, it's backlit, right?
It's backlit, it's level.
Have you guys considered doing something that is a sign that's there, maybe the letters with like floodlight lighting it up?
We certainly could. You know, ultimately, we wanted to make it look as,
that's very subtle.
Yeah,
appealing as possible.
You know what I'm saying? You go to some of these places, resorts, stuff, they've got kind of a sign maybe with some shrubs and they just got some floodlights. Because like I said, I don't think it needs to be advertised so much there. The building's so close to the road, and you guys are planning on having signage on the building as well, right? So, in my opinion, I think it's overkill to have all these backlit signs.
Well, and because this is on a main thoroughfare, I just think that we need to get this one right.
Yeah. This 164 square foot that they're asking for, that includes signage on the building?
Yeah, the building, the drive-through sign, the monument sign, all the signs on that lot.
And the menu board.
The menu board, small signs, the monument sign, what's on the front of the building, everything would have to be included in that 184 square feet.
We're not looking to, just rest assured, we're not looking to put anything big and extravagant out there. Something nice and clean that I mean, it's a great spot in Cedar Lake. It's a great spot on the lake, right on the north side. Doesn't need to be junked up, and plus with big, huge, bulky signs. So it can be, it's subtle. I don't know if there's any actual building ordinances or codes for that, the actual signs, what they have to look like.
Just
size, right?
It's size, and then message boards are a whole other animal.
No message board, just, we would And I think if we get to that point, I can come back and show you exactly what we're planning, and if you don't like it, I mean, it's not gonna hurt my feelings. If you've got an idea, you tell me what you want, and we'll do it. That's pretty
How come
simple.
it doesn't hurt his feelings, Nick?
I'm sorry?
How come nothing hurts his feelings?
He's tough dude. Yeah, I don't know, it's just my opinion that if we're gonna double the amount of signage on the property, especially on such a small property so close to the road, I would like to have it up here a little more. So,
Subdued.
subdued, yeah, not in your face.
What do you think, John?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Important lesson tonight at Cedar Lake PD. Just heard it again. I want to remind you all of it. Sometimes petitioners do what Mr. Brooker just did. Said, whatever you want, I'm going to do. I'll bring it into you. Do you want this or do you want that? I think we had a substantial discussion earlier. He needs to make a presentation or a proposal. Hear your comments, of course, because they certainly weigh on what the ultimate design and specs and all that are, and then put it in front of you.
Just a little bit different than,
Not just what you all want.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
And ultimately you get people in trouble.
We're back to the gravel blacktop.
Well, we're trying to decide tonight or approve is the amount of square footage of the sign, not what it's gonna be pink and green with yellow letters.
Yeah, but you can
All we
put
wanna
those
decide is
conditions
what
on
the
it.
sign, the square footage.
You can put those conditions on it.
But don't decide it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. And we had the example earlier with quarters.
yeah, I think what I was saying, I apologize.
I don't think anybody's, I'm sorry, I don't think anybody is against 184 square feet. We're more concerned about what it's gonna be. So you put a small monument sign, and then you got sign here, sign here, sign here. And that's like I said, that picture is fantastic. I appreciate seeing that. However, maybe we need an exhibit to actually see, to vote on. And that's kind of where I'm at with this.
No, I know you don't know me, but yeah, and you bring up a great point, but my word is to please you guys, so, yeah. However, again, we understand what you're talking about, what you're looking for, size, and making it, and I agree 100%. I think that's exactly right. And I don't know if we agree on the square footages. I'm not going to take, I guess, is the concern that I would take 90% of square footage and put it on the front of the monument sign?
Well, a proportioning in my head is there, yeah. You also said part of the signage was gonna be the menu sign.
That's correct.
That's on the side of the building, though. There's that's in the drive-through as you drive
In the
up.
back. In the back.
That's in the back?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Plus you got arrows that are considered signs, but I wouldn't think they were signs, but I guess they are.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
By definition, they are, that's why.
Anyway,
Which.
Not the ones that are painted up.
Yeah.
And each
But the
directional
one-
signage, they would have to be sent on their request. So each directional sign, if it's 1x2, whatever size it is, the other signage has to be reduced because they can't exceed over that total amount for
Yeah.
the entirety of the property.
I like the monument sign the way that is. I mean, I like that, I think that's good. I mean, I can almost see it sitting there. However, the size of that would be a little more of my concern as it's proportioned out around the property.
Well, currently they would be, I mean, based on our ordinance, if I'm correct here, they would be allowed a 60-foot sign on the property as a monument
Yeah.
sign. So they're not asking for
60
anything bigger than
60 square feet.
60 square feet.
Yeah.
A monument sign on the property, and then
Yeah.
32 square feet for another sign. They'd only be allowed 2, but
Yeah. Okay.
So could this be voted on with a contingency of planning commission approval of the signage?
Correct.
Maybe that's the thing to do. Because we can talk about this all night long.
All right, gentlemen, I'm gonna ask if there's any remonstrators for or against this variance out there.
I thought you covered with that with all of them, didn't they?
They suggested we do them separately, right, or does?
no, make the presentation collectively, you ask for the remonstrances.
Collectively.
Okay.
If you haven't asked for them, ask for them.
Okay, so we're good with that then? All right, thank you.
But
Okay.
each variance request separately as.
Separate
And
vote.
separate motion.
As provided.
Okay, all right, that was unclear. All right, now that we got that cleared up, want to get to the vacation rental home portion of this hearing? You guys want to explain what you got going on there?
Well, you take it to you, Jim.
So in our meetings, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so in our meetings with the town staff, the U-shaped driveway that's existing is in front of the house. The U-shaped driveway will be used as parking, therefore that is also considered parking in front of the building. We have the existing building that's behind the house, garage or a shed, that is 17.6 feet off the property line, which is too close for the B2 zoning, so we're asking for a variance to allow the shed to stay. And then,
This is side yard, or this is just?
side yard, that is side yard for that one.
Okay.
And then the existing drive as it is now is gravel, and they want to leave the rustic look of the gravel there. And Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but somewhere in your ordinance, it's supposed to be paved.
Correct.
And
Parking in, based on your off-street parking ordinance, anything in the business zoning needs to have at least 5 parking spaces. And it would need to meet our parking requirement of what we discussed earlier, the asphalt, concrete, or compacted gravel. Margaret brought up that Bing Maps has our roundabout on it. I know it's very faint, but this is the area of the gravel drive. It comes in off the roundabout, up a concrete drive here, and back out over here. The house is right in here. When I go to Street View, the Street View is still not matched up. And then the accessory, the other buildings back.
How much of the south end of the gravel drive do you plan on using? Because right now, the picture I see on our iPad here, it looks to me like the roundabout is kind of here.
it is on our drawing because we surveyed it in.
Okay.
Do you have the drawing of the survey?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, that's what I'm looking
And
at.
so, you know, we have the concrete entrance that was provided at that, up to the gravel drive. And then you can see the gravel drive as it, continues on and then comes back out onto the roundabout.
That other picture you had there was an older picture, Joe, as if you were standing at the south end of the
Yeah, I
gravel
tried
drive.
going to see if it had the street view right here.
Yeah, no, I saw what you had there,
So it's in here.
yeah.
So
Again, that's
at
an
the
old
plan
picture.
commission meeting, what issues did you guys have with this piece of property?
There was a brief discussion about the home and what it was gonna be used for. And the gravel drive was not really discussed. But I would like to know, what is your timeline for the renovation of that home?
And as soon as we start getting approvals, then we've already ordered, or took the siding counts, so I haven't placed the order yet for that. It's gonna be one of the first things we start working on.
So you'll have that home renovated and ready to use,
Probably by next spring.
so 12 months.
No, next spring, 2022?
I'm asking if 12 months works.
12 months, I would, absolutely, I would take it on 12 months, for sure.
Okay.
Yep.
And this is gonna be a weekly rental type of thing, a monthly
sir.
rental type of thing?
It's not gonna be long-term rental, if you will. It's not what it's designed for. The same as if you were to be, looking for a home out of town for vacation and you go to Verbo or Airbnb and you find a.
Is there a cutout for the gravel drive now, even after the roundabout's put in?
Yes,
Yes.
so it's actually more defined than it was in that picture I showed
Okay.
you. So,
There's like a concrete apron on both.
see how you
Yes.
can kind of cut through the grass anywhere to get in there?
Yeah.
We have the curbing in the roundabout now, and then you have concrete aprons on both ends of the gravel drive.
I did.
So
I guess
it's
I'm a
defined.
pastor, I don't notice them.
Yeah, it's defined.
So your intentions are not to have any blacktop parking up by the house either?
Wasn't planning on it. Wasn't even something I was aware of having to do until we, that's why we created the petition for the variance here, because we had no idea it was even an issue. To be honest with you, since it was already gravel, we just assumed it was okay. I mean,
Well,
But
you
it
saw-
was a-
you saw the
it
people
was a
before you,
home
right?
use then, and it's not going to be a commercial rental business, property business now, as you propose.
I mean, it was a vacation home, but from a previous owner that I went to closing with, they used it as a vacation home.
But they didn't rent it out.
According to him,
Well, the zoning
Well, whether or not they
dictates
did,
blacktop.
we're
I guess
here.
it's,
We're dealing with it at hand. Now, do you guys plan on doing anything different with the parking there, other than just leaving the gravel? You're not gonna have any spots added along the house? You just plan on leaving the gravel circle?
And parallel park around the horseshoe is what was discussed when we met with staff.
Okay,
I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of cleanup to do there.
yeah.
A lot of trees, we plan on taking a lot of trees down, cleaning it up pretty good. I would assume that we're gonna try to keep it just the way it is without trying to incur any more costs on the, because we're spending so much money on the upgrades on the house itself. We plan on, taking out a bunch of trees, bushes and scrubs, trees that aren't, doing anybody any good right now. Honestly, I haven't, gotten to the point where I'm gonna say that, no, it's probably gonna stay just like it is. But when we'll move some trees, we might get creative and say, there's a spot for people to park. I don't know. I don't anticipate, to answer your question.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just, even if there's parallel parking on that driveway, I'm trying to,
That existing driveway is pretty wide, I mean,
yeah.
at least 12 feet wide.
I mean, I guess if the driveway was blacktop, then there wouldn't need to be a parking lot, there were parallel parking lots.
And just so all of you know, when they met with staff, it was myself, Rick, as well as Donald Lamont was in there too. And these were all of the items we had discussed. Putting some of these together, I also got the input of Tim and Michelle on
And did we talk about, when we were in the meeting, also is that, it's not the end of the world. If you said it had to be asphalt, we'd like to keep it gravel, just because of the, like I said, amount of cost we've incurring already. That, because it's a house, it's not like there's gonna be a bunch of commercial traffic coming in, you come in with your family, it's a 4-bedroom.
Hopefully you're successful with it and you do have a lot of traffic. Hopefully that's it.
I guess the thing that it just bothers me is, you folks were here for the last discussion we had with the storage people.
Understood,
And, I just think that,
well,
When you have a chance like this for someone to come in and make stuff right, I think we need to try to capitalize on it.
especially if it's gonna be a rental,
Yeah.
vacation, income producing.
And again, you plan on using the whole drive, in and out, right?
Personally, I don't have any problem with your plan. The idea of using that, fixing that up, would be great. See that used for what it's gonna be used for. I just think you guys are willing to do blacktop and I personally would like to see blacktop. I'd be all for it if drew some blacktop down, fixed it up, started advertising it up for rental. So,
Yeah, I think, okay, I think the comment was made during the last meeting too, is that there's, if you Google, vacation homes in Cedar Lake right now, you'll find a whole bunch of, different homes that are just homes that people own, that are renting their houses out, and, different lots, and different gravel driveways, and
This is zone B, right? B2? That's what changes that dynamic.
yeah.
I'm not suggesting some fancy parking by the house, but kind of feeling what you're saying.
Yeah, just paving the gravel area that's there and don't get too crazy with it. Like you're saying, the B zoning is what really, why we asked for it. Residential, you wouldn't have to worry about this too much, right? All right. Ray, John, do you guys have anything on everything here we've been presented?
No.
No, I'm good. If it's a deal breaker, would you guys, I knew you kind of said it, but you'd be okay with paving that?
You know,
Yes or no?
that could be a 12-month thing.
I'm sorry.
But you mentioned that you would pave it if we required it, and I think there's getting ready to be some motions made here. You guys are okay with that?
No,
If it's a deal breaker?
no, I mean, but yeah, I mean, for fixing up that, it's a dump right now, fixing it up, but that, yeah, if you said that's what you want, and it would move us forward, then I'd say we'll do it.
Okay, all right.
Bill, we're taking a pretty,
Is the timeline for that something that you're going to be sensitive to? Don't say in the future,
no.
because that phrase never works.
I understand construction, I understand if they come in and, do the final inspection, that's probably gonna be something that they don't wanna have lingering, so we'll go ahead and, we'll probably try to get it done at the same time as the parking lot down below, if that's what we have to do.
And I just don't want to put them in a tight spot if plan commission stuff takes a while. Now that 1 year that we're giving them is clicking off and they can't even do anything because they're locked in our process here.
I don't think there's really any hang-up with the planning commission.
Okay.
I mean, the only thing that...
I think it's true here, a lot of the questions we had at the planning commission are being addressed here right now with the variances, so I think that we'll have very little questions.
Yeah,
okay.
We're gonna be at the next meeting, right, next week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't want to give them 12 months and say, oh, we're going to tie up 3 months
No.
of that in planning.
The next work session.
The next work session.
Next work session? Okay.
Next work session. And it would be great to bring that sign stuff there.
Okay.
Then we wouldn't have any, might be no questions.
Okay, I'm curious now.
Final questions?
We have to get a flyer.
Have you guys done the renderings yet, or is it still too early for all that kind of stuff?
I've actually, yeah, I mean, so, to give you an idea of what it is too early, right? Because we haven't spent any money on that, portion, but we can show you the idea that we have, with regards to, how we're wanting to proceed, right? So this would, I mean, again, keep in mind that this is, and if you want to see it, I can show you.
Yeah, let's take a quick one. If you can't find it, it's no big deal.
Nope, I've got it right here.
I think it'll help on the sign thing, though, if there's some typo.
So this, again, is just, you can for sure say that's Domino's.
Okay.
Okay, the owners approved that look. Dunkin' Donuts is obviously, it's not something that we would even tell you that. Okay? So that would be the hopes that probably have the house colors. We try to complement with the building colors as far as using some more LP siding. And you see the new McDonald's that they're building. They use a lot of LP siding with stucco. This here's got a lot of stucco. So the general concept is what we're trying to achieve.
You didn't
Shows
Sorry.
Hey, Jill, the property to the south and east of them, is that B1 property?
That should be, little
But to me,
permanent.
The strip complex.
The resort,
I
the
believe that is.
Hill Lagoon.
Oh, it's own resort.
City.
Yeah, with trailers be back in there. Are they gonna need some screening then, all along there? Okay.
We discussed that in there, that there'd be screening along the south line.
6 foot of something opaque?
Yes.
Okay.
Scrap planning.
All right, are you guys wanting to act on these, or are we okay with the signage stuff? You guys are gonna handle that at the planning commission level?
Yep.
As far
I
as.
think we're good, the existing home, 12 months for occupancy, right? And, blacktop the driveway.
And that'll be from town council approval if they're giving it. Okay. You guys understand that?
I do, but I'd like to just ask, so typically when we pull a permit through any town or county, we get a year off of the permit. So I didn't understand what happened in the meeting before. I did understand what you're saying, but that's just not typical what I'm used to. So when I come in and pull a permit, I should have 1 year after that date. Not saying I need it, but I think that's typically in standard in most towns and cities where we work, is what you have to work with.
Well, why don't we just give them so many days to pull a permit?
Well, I'd pull a permit tomorrow if I could.
Well, then you get your year then.
I mean,
Yeah, but he has a year from his approval to pull the permit, and then he has another year, right?
Well, it depends what motion you make. We told the last one in the mobile home community, you got 1 year to complete everything. Complete, that means occupancy, you said occupancy, so it depends, you know.
Chairman's right. That's you. And then the motion.
Mr. Brooker didn't have a problem with 12 months.
Right, to completion, right? Completion.
Yeah, trust me,
He said he already ordered the sack.
Yeah.
As soon as I'd like to have the liberty of pulling a permit and having a permit in my possession. I mean, I don't know, the guys that were in here asking for paving for the storage has been here in January, and we started the process in March. Hopefully this thing doesn't take any longer than a few months, and so I request how many more months is it gonna take to get approval before I say, yeah, I need 12 months from the state.
So you probably can't pull a permit until you get through plan commission and town council, right?
Cannot.
So you couldn't pull a permit tomorrow realistically.
Well,
I know you're being sarcastic, but, yeah.
I'm comfortable with him having a year, like the town says, you pull a permit, you have a year to complete the project, and from the date you pull the permit. I'm comfortable with that, and not putting a timeline on him that would start Tuesday, and he doesn't pull his permit for 3 months. So, because he's got a year to pull his permit. So I'm comfortable with that without, in this situation, totally different situation, the development, contractors, professionals, against the trailer park where it's residential, and a girl having her dad renovate it, and it's a totally different situation. Well, they have to put up letters of credit and that, like the subdivision.
We have a subdivision in front of the plan commission.
So they would have to put up a,
Whatever the surety requirements for whatever those improvements are going to be. will need
on
to be-
this situation, yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So we're protected all the way around, so I have no problem with it.
I'm putting a bond up for what, my own property, or am I putting a bond up for damage I do to the town, or what? Driving on the road?
Sorry?
I said, so you have to clarify that for me, please, because if I'm putting a bond up, what is that bond covering? My own property?
It covers public improvements that you are responsible for by virtue of your plat application. Whatever that is.
What are we doing,
Probably won't be a lot here.
No,
Because already
There's no
this is already
dedicated
curbed.
right of way, everything,
Yeah. I
Well,
don't know why.
there's, whatever there
In
is,
response to this gentleman's question.
whatever there
It'll
is,
be on public improvements.
whatever there is, Don Oliphant will know.
Sure.
He'll share that with you, whatever that is.
yeah, 'cause this isn't a typical subdivision that, like a residential that has roads
Right.
and you've got
Right.
water main, sewer,
Right.
and all of that.
Most of your stuff is on your stuff.
Right.
But the question asked in the abstract is the answer I gave you. The details will deal with what there is or isn't.
Does anybody have an issue with the accessory structure remaining?
No, I do not, no.
No.
No, sir. So, if there's no more discussion, looking for a motion regarding the first variance request, allowing the two businesses, B2 lot, the outdoor dining.
I'll make a motion, Mr. President, that we, this is a favorable recommendation.
Yeah, this is a recommendation of the council.
I like to make a motion that we send a favorable recommendation for the variance of use to allow the petitioner to have two businesses on a lot in the B2 zoning district and to allow outdoor dining, not in excess of 4 tables, with seating for 4 patrons each, and to include 6-inch impact post, 4 feet on center, filled with concrete, with the findings of fact.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, do you have any spacing in mind, or are you guys gonna handle that stuff? However you do it with the impact post?
He said 4 foot.
4 foot on center.
Oh, yeah, 4 foot, okay, yeah. Sorry, it's getting late. Thank you. All right, Mr. Bungie, you seconded that? Okay, we have a motion to send a favorable recommendation of the town council to allow the petitioner to have 2 businesses on a lot in a B2 zoning district and to allow outdoor dining not to exceed 4 tables with seating for 4 patrons each, to also have 6-inch impact posts, 4 foot on center, that are filled with concrete, and to include the findings of fact. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Welkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapura?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
yes.
Mr. Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, request is regarding the parking spaces and the signage. Looking for a motion for that item as well.
Gary's on a roll.
Yeah, he's on fire.
This is board decision, right?
This is a board decision, yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the developmental variance to allow the petitioner to have parking in the front yard and side yards with a total of 30 spaces on the lot, and to have signage, not in excess, signage in total, not in excess of 184 square feet. Contingent on planning commission's approvals, with the findings of fact.
So that motion was basically approving it as presented, and also adding the planning commission approval
Yes.
being a contingency?
Yeah, I didn't give those little bits and pieces of each side.
You like to include, you want me to include that in the motion?
No,
No?
no, because I think what he's gonna do there is gonna be nice.
Okay.
I'll
It's
second.
maximum 184 square feet.
Okay. All right. Motion by Mr. Wilkins, second by Mr. Kapura, to allow the developmental variance to have parking in the front and side yards, a total of 30 parking spaces on the lot, and to have a maximum signage square feet of 184 square feet, contingent plan commission approval and findings of fact. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Welkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapura?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
Yes.
Mr. Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. The next one is a board recommendation of the town council regarding the use of the property that has a vacation rental home.
Just for clarification, he has 1 year from the time he gets the permit,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And he has 1 year to exercise that variance too, so.
He's got 2 years.
He's got 2
He's got 2
years.
years.
Yeah.
So giving him 2 years to complete it is not a problem. Because you can keep getting extensions on permits.
And you can, yeah.
Could ask for them.
Who you gotta ask?
Village department.
I'm just thinking that does help get something done.
Yeah, I understand.
This variance of use also, shouldn't this be contingent upon, plat approval by the plan commission?
It should. It's a good catch.
Thank you. Well, it's up to whoever makes the motion to decide whether you want to put a deadline on this. It may seem willing to
Yeah.
get this done fast.
Mr. Brooker said he can be trusted.
Whatever we want.
That's good enough for me.
60 to 90 days of plat, in the perfect rule.
Yeah. All right, this will be a recommendation of the council.
We do 12 months, 12 months after the building permit is received, with no extensions?
Well, you can't take away your process, you can always ask. Be denied, but it can be asked.
I'm not sure what to do about it.
Well, I know.
I guess
I'll make a motion to send a favorable approval to the town council for the use, for variance use is to allow an existing home to be a vacation/rental home on a lot in the B2 zoning district contingent upon plat approval by the plan commission and finding of facts.
I'll second that, with the findings of fact.
All right, motion by Mr. Capuro and a second by Mr. Wilkening to send a favorable recommendation to the town council allowing the existing home to be a vacation rental home on a lot in a B2 zoning district contingent plan approval by plan commission, and findings of fact. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapura?
Yes.
Mr. Bunky?
Yes.
Mr. Akuda?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Last item is a developmental variance, so that'll be a board decision. Allow the parking in the front and side on the existing gravel driveway and allow the existing accessory structure on the north side yard to remain with a 7-foot, 6-inch side yard setback. Obviously,
Does this motion need to eliminate the gravel and add blacktop in the language?
I would say that.
it does, yeah.
If you take out the request for the gravel driveway, would that be, in your motion, would that be acceptable? So go ahead and say to grant the developmental variance for parking in front and side and to allow the spacing of the accessory building?
They have to do it, that's all.
You'd have to do it?
He's suggesting leaving out the gravel driveway language.
If you do, that'll mandate the pavement.
Okay, that's what you're getting at.
Constructively, that'll mandate the,
Okay,
our laws will have to be followed.
okay.
So I can follow.
So you can do that?
Okay,
Yes.
that gets our point across to
I
what
like
we
it.
want done.
I like
Yeah,
it.
that sounds like a motion.
And Dave's made it, Jeff.
And Dave said that's perfectly acceptable and gets to the end, so.
Yeah.
God bless you.
All right, yes, I'd like to make that motion. I don't know if I can say it again.
Sure.
I'd like to approve or grant this developmental variance to allow parking in the front and side yard as requested and to allow the existing accessory structure on the north side of the yard to remain at a 17.5-foot side yard setback. include the findings of fact.
I'll second that.
Okay. Seconded, or a motion by Mr. Bungie, seconded by Mr. Wilkening to allow this developmental variance, to have front and side yard parking and to allow the existing accessory structure on the north side yard to remain with a 7'6" side yard setback, including findings. Roll call?
Mr. Chairman, can we have this contingent upon plat approval as well, please?
Contingent upon plat approval.
I'll amend my motion to the like.
Okay. So this.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapura?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
Yes.
Mr. Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. I think that's all you guys got, right, for us?
We do, but I do have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Just to
absolutely.
recap it for you, if you will. I did understand as we were talking through all this that we will be back here on September 1st. Do we have to do anything with you in the meantime? And then at that time,
We'll catch up.
at that time, you're wanting to see a more of a real representation of what we plan on putting. I mean, what I showed you was one, but the sizes and stuff would be.
A street view rendition would be fantastic.
Okay, we can do that. That's for the signage, and then, after that September 1st meeting, where are we at? Are we at, state design release, or it was something else we have to do with the city, or town?
We would put that whole timeline together, that's just a work session we have to go through.
From there, then you go to the actual plan commission.
Public hearing for
Public
your
hearing.
primary plat, and then you'll have site plan and final plat.
I guess what he's wondering is
I think
how many weeks it'll be before he can get that permit.
In the perfect world, not until October,
Easily.
Easily.
Given which, you know, you have to go to.
Get close to winter.
And some of those timelines are mandatory.
yes.
There's no way around it.
Especially on the plan.
And then town council, at the earliest meeting to consider the variance of uses would be the September 7th meeting.
And that would be a push. Given the content here tonight.
Can you define push? Tough to do, or it'll
We
be?
had 8 petitions before us, so we all have some documents, the units have to be prepared so we can figure it out. This is
So I guess my final question, if you don't mind, I know it's late, we've been here a long time this evening, but with the approvals that were made this evening, is it safe to say if I move forward with an architect and design the building that we're going to, I'm not gonna run into anything that says, no, we're not, or
a terrible question for a zoning appeal.
Okay, we don't get into that.
Answer that.
Yeah. Okay. That's not our jurisdiction, right?
That's fine, I didn't know if it was or not, I just, like I said, I haven't spent the time and energy to get those drawings done because, at least this tonight, I didn't know if giving these would grant us.
First thing to tell you is, everything was pre-approved tonight.
This was a very good milestone in the project.
I take the sale on out of here happy.
Absolutely, absolutely, I'm not saying I'm not,
I
certainly appreciate you guys.
think your engineer is happy with what happened here
Oh,
tonight.
I'm not,
And if there's any questions about anything here, you can call the town engineer, and he will give full clarity.
okay, very good, thank you.
Thanks for sticking around, guys.
Yeah, this is,
Good luck with everything.
this is a good improvement, we're all happy about it.
Good, good.
Thank
you all.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
Can we go back?
Summer Wind?
Someone.
Summer Winds. Do we have a petitioner here for Summer Winds commercial variance of use? We don't. They didn't pop up online, did they?
No,
And no correspondence. All right.
Who would we be anticipating being here, Mr. Lambert himself?
yes, that's who petitioned.
Okay, that's what I saw. I just-
Gosh, he
I
stopped
would-
by using the place today. He didn't say anything about not stopping by.
He's not shown up in meetings before.
He has
This
not.
is in his first over the years.
Let's not forget about the, keeping the patrons safe with this outdoor seating.
Yeah. So are you guys looking at deferring this till next month then? giving him a chance?
Yeah, I'll make
Emergency
a
popped up.
motion, I'll make a motion, we defer this to the next meeting.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Chairman,
Yes,
is there any form of notice you want to require based upon having this meeting? You want the petitioner to do?
a notice to the petitioner from the town?
No, what notice you want the petitioner to give the people who were entitled to notice for the public hearing that didn't get held?
What are you suggesting?
Certified mail the adjoiners and, go to the newspaper again. It's a pretty cheap debt for missing a meeting. You
Okay.
have it fully within your rights to dismiss it. You haven't solicited a motion for that, so.
Okay. So,
Renoticing is not anything other than good due process.
I'll amend my second.
Jerry, are you gonna amend that motion to require them to renotice this hearing?
I will amend my motion to include them renoticing the adjacent property owners,
Before
finding the
September?
fact, for the, when?
September meeting?
What day is that?
Oh,
September
15th.
September?
Okay.
9th.
Amend my motion to include, re-notifying the adjacent property owners.
Okay,
For the September 9th meeting.
All right, motion to defer by Jerry, seconded by Jeff.
That's quite a few.
Sorry, I got the 9th,
I was here to
No,
remind you.
9th.
The 9th.
Right.
There were quite a few in there, Jerry. Just get them up.
Yeah, I don't know.
One final point.
Paperclip one
The
still.
petitioner didn't show up, but I know the five of you, and you prepared for this meeting. So you've been required now to re-prepare, or re-ready yourself.
Well, this sounds like something we've had happen with this petitioner before.
Right.
I'm not
It
aware.
has, I mean, there have been a variety of things, there's redevelopment, there's planning, there's things that have happened, and,
All right, well,
I guess ultimately letting him know that,
I'll talk,
He's-
I'll reach out to him.
we'd like him to be here.
okay. Motion to defer by Jerry, seconded by Jeff, also requiring the petitioner to renotice the hearing for September 9th, 2021. Roll call?
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapora?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
Yes.
Mr. Recupedo?
Yes. Motion carries 5-0.
Old business, or?
Well, we've got update item, resolution number 2021-01, Mr. Murr.
So this that has been previously discussed, moving along with the zoning ordinance review at the planning commission level. It's anticipated to have, that in front of you for your September meeting.
Okay. All right,
So, planning commission for your September meeting.
all right, any public comment out there? Public comment?
I have public comment.
Speak up, sir.
I would like to know where we're at with the continued expansion of the Melody Hill Marina. And I briefly touched on that, and I think we need to make it an item. So you
Expansion of what?
The Melody Hill Marina.
So,
You could give us some clarification on that, that would be great. Because everybody's been there, everybody's seen the issues, parking, et cetera, and nobody here has ever heard of the project, so if you could, get everybody pointed in the right direction, that'd be great.
Jerry, what does clarification mean? Just another fuzzy word.
Well, the business, was kind of desolate for years, and then, the DNR issued permits. It said, for the AHJ's authority. Now it's expanded again, according to their social media website and advertising, they have more boat slips. They have no parking, there's two businesses on one piece of property, and nobody here can recall it ever being here or at the planning commission.
Is that zoned resort?
Yes.
That's probably why.
Now it's called Melody Hill Marina, not Melody Hill Resort. So there's a couple bits of dynamic here, and if we don't get a handle on, the word marina pretty soon, we're gonna have a big problem.
Where's that at? Back
Melody
behind the
Hill,
hill,
Melody Hill Bar,
The Hill Tavern.
the Hill Tavern,
across from the ambulance, just up the hill from,
Yeah, I don't,
I mean, they,
where's that, in back of it?
Lakeside, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're
That's
looking,
what I meant, back to town.
Yes, back to town, yes.
so you're requesting maybe records request be done?
Jill
on
and I
any-
had a brief conversation about this, and she had alluded to, there was something, maybe in movement with that, and I'm trying to make it official that we get caught up with what the heck's going on. We tore a house down
Right.
that I believe was permitted, and then put a bunch of gravel there and just made more parking, and that's not business, that's not our business guidelines.
So Jill, you can disseminate to the board, anything regarding compliance and permitting. That's what we're, I guess.
for sale?
Yes.
Okay, all right,
They
thanks.
used the old existing pier and then expanded from that.
I thought they bought the pier that was on auction at the town here, and they expanded off of that, they brought that down.
I don't know what they used, I don't know.
Any other public comment? Anything else? Nothing online, Mr. Mayor? All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
He can just adjourn himself.
All right, yeah, I could.
I
interrupted
I could. You could entertain that
But I'm entertaining that motion from Mr. Boney and seconded by Mr. Kokora. And this meeting is adjourned at
Aye.